Hey everyone, and welcome to CommanderCast episode 309. We're your weekly source for community, strategy, and technology, hosted on our home site, CommanderCast.com. And this week we have a very special guest, returning guest now. Mike, you're 2 for 2, man. So.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
It is. This is 2 more times than most people want to be on the cast. So, could you just introduce yourself a little bit for listeners who might not have heard your last time when we were banding together?
Yeah, I'm Mike. I'm from Canada, and I'm a Magic nerd. I like to play mostly casual, although I do play a little bit of competitive, and that's about it.
Sweet. And, of course, we always have Adam with us, too. What's going on, Adam?
Yeah. It's going.
It is going.
You know, I'm here. It's early on a beautiful, what looks to be hot Saturday morning.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be hot up here, too. It's, it might crest into the 30s today. So.
Wow, that's cute.
That's pretty good. Although I can't complain. I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to know what the temperature would be for you, Mike. Probably.
I have a foot of snow in the driveway.
Ah.
That needs a shovel. And
I'm pretty sure it's going to be like 70 here. So.
The wonders of the internet, connecting people in miserable cold and in nice climes as well. So,
yeah,
although I do have to say,
we're in the negatives down here, like the deep negative.
Ah, I gotcha.
Where, are you in the far north of Canada? I don't know Canadian geography particularly well.
I'm in southern Ontario, so that lines up with basically northern California.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Ran a line across the map, but
yeah,
it's colder than a witch's tit out here.
Yeah, fair enough.
Is that still the only thing I know about that area? Is that there are lakes around it? Would that count as like lake effect snow? You get in like that Buffalo region there where everything just kind of gets coated with snow for some ungodly reason?
I'm far enough in from the lakes that we don't get that, but we're not far. Like if you drive 30 minutes basically in any direction, that's where you get the lake effect.
I got you. Well, on a slightly different note, Adam, I'm glad it's nice and 70 degrees where you are. Although, down there in Florida, why was I not surprised when I read the news story this week about a kid who got himself stuck in a claw machine? Those cool little claw machines at the arcade? And why was I not surprised when that was in Florida?
Well, yeah, I mean, you should never be surprised if that's the case. Like, if there's a stupid news story, it probably takes place here.
That's true.
But the important part is that Mike is here with us. He's got snow, but he's equipped to handle it.
I'm going to leave.
Well, I'm glad that we can continue with our awful puns. So that's pretty good. So yes, we're going to talk about some underused equipment this week on the show, folks. So stick with us. Keep up with the conversation on Facebook and Twitter, and then stick with us after the breaking community, where we're going to talk about, we're going to start talking about, not on the equipment train just yet, but maybe some social, I wouldn't go so far as to say faux pas. There's some social situations that crop up around a game of Commander, and then we'll get straight into equipping our main topic. So stick with us. Yay, interstitial.
That was brutal.
Yeah, well, I mean, come to us for all your pun-induced pain. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh.
Actually, Mike, you brought to us an interesting situation that kind of cropped up in one of your games that you played recently. So can you tell us a little bit about it, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, so on Monday, we were playing at the local game store, and I've got a deck that I've had for years. It's an Aiden Oakenshield toolbox reanimator deck.
Nice.
And when I first built the deck, I put in the infinite combo of Kiki Jiki, Necrotic Ooze, Mog Fanatic, and Anger in the bin.
Okay.
And it turns out that every time I'd play, I would search up those cards, drop them in the bin, put Necrotic Ooze down, win the game every time. Like, it was tuned to do that. But it was super boring. Like, every single game devolved into the same set of actions. So I took the Mog Fanatic out, which then you can make infinite Necrotic Oozes that are tapped and do nothing. And I was fine with that, right? Well, the other day, I realized that if I do all this at the end of the turn, like in someone's end step, those Necrotic Oozes stick around until the next end step. So I can do this at the end step of my opponent to my right, and then I win the game. And I'd played this deck for, like I said, for years and never seen this. And all of a sudden it sort of clicked, and I used it to win the game. And after that, I just had this terrible taste in my mouth. Like, what have I done? I'm not against using infinite combos. I run them in most of my decks. But this one was specifically built to not take advantage of that. Now, the tricky part is that the deck runs Necrotic Ooze because I use a lot of effects like Avatar of Woe, stuff like that. And if they're in the bin, then Necrotic Ooze is great. I can continue using my Avatar of Woe effects. And I run Kiki Jiki because I run stuff like Massacre Worm. So 2 Massacre Worms is a lot better than 1 Massacre Worm.
Also true.
Yes.
So taking cards out of the deck becomes, if I take out Necrotic Ooze, that means half the deck is sort of nerfed. Or not nerfed, but not as good as it could be.
Yeah.
And taking Kiki Jiki out does the same thing for the other half. So I'm kind of stuck at this what do I do thing. You know what I mean? Like, do I leave them in and then just never run that combo again?
So my suggestion is that if it makes you feel dirty, then you probably did it right. That's my feeling on combos. No. I was thinking about this because I didn't necessarily have that specific example, but there's a couple ways that I've seen people combat it. Yeah, I mean, taking a piece out is definitely something that you can do. But like you said, I mean, if you're nerfing half your deck to take out a Necrotic Ooze that happens to interact in a ridiculous way, then no, you don't want to take out that piece. Makes perfect sense. I feel like Kiki Jiki would actually be the easiest one to take out because Kiki Jiki is degenerate with nearly everything.
Well, I agree.
True, but couldn't you say the same thing about Necrotic Ooze? Like, what graveyard deck doesn't benefit from Necrotic Ooze, you know?
I mean, I don't play it in my dredge deck.
I don't either, but I don't play it honestly because of probably about situations like this. Now, me, I'm more, I wouldn't say allergic to infinite combos, but I definitely try to avoid infinite combos at all costs. I think maybe just because I don't like those game states.
Yeah.
You know, that's just me. Like, I'm on the opposite side of it. Like, if I feel like I need to take a shower after a game, I try to not do that.
Well, I find it difficult to sate my hunger for people's tears without them. So
that is tough.
Yeah.
See, I keep infinite combos in the deck because it's an alternate win con. Now,
sure,
certain decks that I've built specifically around infinite combos. I've got a Vish Cal deck that runs Ornithopter and Enduring Renewal.
Right.
And so I'll Ornithopter you to death. But there's other decks that I build that the infinite combo's there, and if it comes up, great. But I want to win by hitting you with a bunch of guys. If
right.
That work for whatever reason, okay, I have a plan B. Now, a lot of my decks don't run a lot of tutors. I just up. Now, if I don't run a lot of tutors, I don't have as much issue with having an infinite combo in the deck. Aiden does run a lot of tutors, but he runs all the really situational tutors, like transmute tutors and stuff like that. And it's just, I don't know, like I could say, okay, I'm just never going to do this, or maybe I'm only going to do it and make 5 Necrotic Oozes.
Right.
Before I found out, or not found out, because I've known about this rule forever, but before it sort of clicked, my favorite thing to do is I would put, what's the guy? He's from Gate Crash, and you pay a colorless and sacrifice a creature, and target player mills till they hit a land. And I would put that in the bin too, and so I would make infinite amount of those guys, and then tap all my mana and sacrifice them and try to mill you for as much mana as I tapped. That's not a game-ending play. Fun, but
in all seriousness, I actually don't think that this is a problem. I think that if you're going to take anything out of that deck to change it, if you just feel like it needs to be changed up, I would say take the tutors out. All right, now you have a less consistent combo. You know, you're talking about a 2 creature-based combo, one of which has to be in your yard. If people can't deal with those things, either get rid of the creature or get rid of your yard or something like that, it's time to go to game 2.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a non-disruptible, ridiculous combo that's, it is a 2-card combo that happens to be in there. But you have to get them in very specific places, if you don't have a Gerard's order to basically get it exactly where you need it or something like that. it's
card combo because you need to have anger in the bin too. Otherwise, your first necrotic ooze taps and makes a necrotic ooze that can't tap because it doesn't have haste.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so 3. Yeah, so I mean, it's really not that bad. So you have to have a mountain out, you have to have anger in your yard, you have to have Kiki Jiki in your yard, and you have to have necrotic ooze out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, sufficient hoops.
Sure. Yeah, I mean there are sufficient hoops to this, right? So we're not saying this isn't like Hermit Druid combo. You know, he's not winning on like turn 2.
Right, exactly.
But still, like I don't know, Mike. Like if it made you feel bad, like if it gave you the feel bads afterwards, like there's got to be something wrong with it. You know, like on some level, or at least to Mike. Even if we can say like it's irrational.
Mike.
I think the feel bads come from that. I had specifically worked this deck, in my opinion, to not win with that kind of combo.
Right.
Normally, this deck wins by I'll cast Combustible Gear Hulk, and then I'll Kiki-Jiki it, and then I'll sacrifice it and cast it again. So I'll get 3 Combustible Gear Hulks in one turn, and that'll be the win.
Right.
Or, just stuff like that, just little value things where I grind out the game and win, not properly, but not
Yeah.
either, right?
What would happen if you replaced Kiki Jiki with something that gave you not quite the same value, but almost the same value?
Well, then I would
something like
wasted
a Panharmonicon.
nice. Oh, Panharmonicon, no. No.
Is that no? That's funny. I mean, what if you just replaced Necrotic Ooze with something? I mean, it's going to nerf your deck, but I mean, sometimes I think, I don't know, like I used to have a Karn deck. I still have a Karn deck, but I used to not be able to just blow up everybody's lands when I got Mycosynth Lattice out.
Yeah.
So I just took Mycosynth Lattice out. I mean, it was great, but like it made me feel like a douche because I was a douche. I was blowing up everybody's lands. I mean, it felt amazing at the time, but then I'm just like, people don't want to play against that deck.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, I base it more not like, I don't know, I base it more on other people's perception more than mine. Like even if I'm like, oh, that was easy, and everybody's like, yeah, legit win, and they don't feel bad about it, and they're willing to play another game with it. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, how did everyone else react when you won like that?
I was sitting at a table with these are the guys that we play with consistently. They know this deck and like they've seen me build it over the years, and they know it's a fun deck, that it's it's not meant to be broken and brutal. But when I won with it, they were like, oh, okay. And then we just sort of moved on to the next game. But I looked at them and I apologized. I'm like, sorry that happened. I just noticed it now. And I don't think that they were too upset about it, but for me, it was just kind of shitty.
Yeah. It kind of left a bad taste in your mouth.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah, truck stops will do
that. Casual sex aside. I don't know. I don't know if there's a way around this without taking one of those pieces out, right? What if you took?
I'm looking at the deck list right now, and if I were to pull it out, the Necrotic Ooze. So the cards that work with Necrotic Ooze is Avatar of Woe, Deathrite Shaman, Fauna Shaman, Hermit Druid.
Like everything. Like every good card works with Necrotic Ooze.
Well, no, so we're at what, there 4, and then Steel Hellkite and Undercity Informer. So, and Visara the Dreadful. So it's like 7 cards. That's not that many.
Right.
Oh, okay. What are the other cards in your deck? Yeah. Like, are anything, like, do you run a lot of creatures in that deck? I would imagine, because it's an Aiden Oakenshield deck, but.
Yeah, there's 30 creatures. Now, the one thing I like about Kiki-Jiki is that I run Kessage Cage Breakers.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so I'll Kiki the Kessage Cage Breakers and then run at you with those 2 dudes and 40 wolves.
That's what I'm talking about.
I like this, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how the deck is like meant to win, like these fun little interactions. So I would be more inclined, I think, to pull the Necrotic Ooze out and put in something else.
Right.
I mean, if you're looking to get some activated ability of a card in a graveyard, you could just throw in, I mean, I assume you're running Reanimate anyway, but you could throw in some other version of Reanimate,
No, I actually don't run Reanimate.
Oh, okay. I mean, if you're looking for a one-shot, because I would guess the real problem here is the repeatability of the Necrotic Ooze, right? Or
the issue is that you can just make the infinite dudes.
Right. So, Yeah, the repeatability of that effect is the problem. You can just keep going ad nauseum.
So, I mean, you could theoretically pull anger out of the bin.
No, true.
Pull anger out of the deck, and then it stops. And then you only sacrifice one card.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could...
Yeah, but I mean, that would be assuming that you don't run anything else that gives stuff haste, which I assume you play Greaves or...
No.
Really?
Yep.
If you have no other source for haste, then that solves your problem.
Yeah, that's the only haste enabler in the deck.
Oh, yeah, just take that out. I mean, because, like, Aimless... I mean, it neuters Aiden a little bit, but not that much that I would be worried about it.
I don't even think it neuters Aiden. Aiden basically neuters himself. I don't know if you've...
Yeah, fair enough.
He's not that good.
Yeah. Shocker.
He's really expensive.
Outpassed.
He's real expensive because he's real old, and I like
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I play an Aiden Oakenshield, like, Commander 95 deck, but it's also a Commander 95 deck, so...
Yeah.
Oh, God, he's real expensive. He went up $70.
Yeah, he's fucking ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, you could... if you're worried about it being unfair, you could take anger out and put Concordant Crossroads in, and be like, hey, everybody gets haste. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. There's actually an equipment that I want to talk about today that I've been kind of looking at that gives a creature trample, first strike, and haste.
Ooh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Yep. All those things are good.
And so maybe I pull anger out and put that in.
You know, that sounds pretty good. That also makes for a really nice segue. Huh. Yes. Mike, it disturbs me that you're better at this than I am. So.
Wait, I had a segue. I said something about being equipped with snow shovels.
Yeah, that was a horrible pun that hurt me in the insides, like right where my.
Oh, right, fair enough.
Yeah, like I could probably point to the organs that were pained by that pun, but that's all right. I won't put it out on the doll. It's okay. We can move on. Okay. So, is there anything else, any other kind of, I don't know, tips we can give Mike for this or feel bads in general? I totally get what he's saying, man. Like, I have decks where, like, you think you've made it fair or you think you've made a fun deck and then you're just like, oh fuck, I didn't realize my deck could do this, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think that, like, the self-limitation of the loop is a decent thing, too. Like, you know, anytime I've ever played in, which is very infrequently, like a commander, like competitive type thing, they usually just say, yeah, if you have an infinite combo, you can only do it 3 times or something. You know,
I've got
whatever it is.
Like, if I've got an infinite loop and I can do it 3 times on my turn, I can do it 3 times on your turn and 3 times on everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I had that beef too because I pulled something off that was basically like a lock on somebody and they were like, no, 3 times of the same interaction. I'm like, in the game? Because that seems real bad.
I have a problem with pulling punches in general. Like, I just don't like doing it. You know what I mean? Like, there's something. If you're going to pull an infinite combo off of me, unless it's an infinite turn loop, in which case I'm just going to scoop and you can fucking go masturbate on your side of the board forever.
Right.
Like, I'm going to say, just do it. You know, just like do it to the end. Like, if you can just do it and win the game, just do it and win the game. Then we'll shuffle up and play again.
Oh yeah. Like whenever we play, if someone's like, well, okay, here's my infinite combo, what I'll do is I'll make them play it out through one iteration because I found so many times people know that these 3 cards are a combo and then they drop them all and they go, I win.
Right. Yeah.
Say, well, how do you win? And then they get this look on their face like, shit, I should have read the primer a little better.
No, we had that last night when we were playing. Somebody's like, okay, and then I go infinite, and so somebody was like, wait, I might have a response.
Yeah.
Okay, but it worked in the opposite direction because the person who like had the combo knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So like they walked them through one cycle of it.
Yeah.
And they were like, so what's your response? And they were like, I don't actually know which part to respond to. Like, they had a Chaos Warp in hand, and they're like, so I do that? And he's like, okay, so in response I do this.
Yeah.
He's like, damn it, I don't know.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but like if someone's going to go off, then no problem. I mean, if that's the game we're playing, that's the game we're playing. And I know that this whole thing stems from me putting artificial rules on my own deck, right?
Yeah.
That's
right.
That's the part that I'm like, kind of bummed out about. But I guess if we just take the anger out, I can throw one of these new equipments in, try it out, and if it works, then great. And if not, then, figure something else out.
Yeah, I also feel that, like, oh, go ahead, Adam.
No. Go ahead, Mark.
Oh, I was going to say, I think sometimes in decks like that, I'd like to have like a rotating slot, like a rotating third chair or something for a card where I'm like, that card didn't really do it for me, or like I didn't like the way I felt after I played that card, or maybe something stale, like something I can trade through. It also helps your deck from getting, too stale, too overused. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I built, Nizal, the new blue dinosaur.
Oh yeah.
I built that when it came out, and what I've been doing is I've been taking him on a journey through time, and every time I play the deck, I try to win with one of the cards from the latest set. So, for example, I was playing, and I had to win with a card from Rivals of Ixalan, not Nizal, obviously, and I had like 2 of them in the deck, and one of them was the Brainstorm Merfolk, and I told him table what I was doing, and all of a sudden there's this huge concerted effort to kill this damn merfolk, and like I had a guy drop 3 or 4 removal spells on this thing, and I kept either countering
like a 2/2 or something.
Yeah, but like I was like determined to win with it, so I countered 3 of them, and then I bounced the merfolk to my hand on the 4th one. I ended up playing it again, and I had Cage Sun, Gauntlet of Power, and then I put a sword on him, and I managed to come across the table and kill the last opponent for like exact damage and win with that card. Nice. And then when I got home, I took the Rivals cards out of the deck. And then I made sure that there was a couple win conditions just from Ixalan. And so I went back to the store later and I did the exact same thing, and I won with the Ixalan card.
That's awesome.
So the goal is to my goal is to get them all the way back to the dark. And and the deck is just going to get progressively shittier as it goes.
That's nice. That's a weird, I don't know, was it like Benjamin Button, the bad deck? Like, that's
no, he's going back to see all the other dinosaurs in the past.
This sounds, I would like to see the animated TV show of Mike and the time-traveling dinosaur.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I want.
I completely agree with that sentiment.
But that is a pretty amazing goal for a deck, man. That's way more creative than I've ever been with any of my decks. Most of my decks were like, make tokens, dude. So,
I mean, that's how most people's decks are.
It's true. Yeah. But yeah, I think, if we can't give you any more solid advice for what to do with the deck, I hope you'll come on again, Mike, and tell us, what came of this, or what you give us an update on what you did to kind of, take the feel bads out of this particular interaction.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I'm gonna go play a couple games after we're done, and I'll try it out today and see how it works.
Sweet. All right, ladies and gents. Well, that'll put a bow on our community segment this week, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some of that underused equipment, maybe starting with that one that Mike was alluding to in this segment, right after the break. Stick around. Interstitial. Dun, 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 dun.
I think we should just use that as the interstitial music.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've been trying it out.
Sounds great.
Yeah. I'm a musician. In strategy this week, ladies and gents, finally we have gotten to the underused equipment part, so we can talk about some underused equipment. Equipment is something I think in general I don't hear about as much anymore. I don't see too many builds that aren't just running swords. Like I saw a little after Nizan came out. There was a little more love, but I can't tell you the last time I saw a good Kemba deck.
No. Yeah, I mean, you got your standard Voltron, your Rafik, which is basically just swords deck.
Yeah.
Almost everybody runs Greaves, and then it starts getting a little bit more limited after that.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty sparse.
I built Kemba a long time ago, and then I went to Staples Business Depot and printed off a whole bunch of cat tokens with pictures of my own cat.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then I realized I was only playing the deck so I could show off my cat tokens.
And that's when I had to go away.
Yeah, then I just kept all the pictures on my phone, and I would just show people pictures of my cat, and I would play real Magic.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's a good one. So Mike, you had the idea to talk about this topic. What is it about underused equipment that you felt like you wanted to talk about? You felt like you want to kind of spotlight?
Well, a couple things. First one is I like using underused cards because just like with the banding we talked about before, they come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
People see this and they're like, "Oh, okay, well that's not a sword, so I don't need to worry about that." Or it's not lightning greaves. That's fine. Do whatever you want. I'm gonna save my removal for the big name stuff,
Right.
which is not a good, not a bad plan. The big name stuff is big because of a reason, but the smaller stuff is still gonna beat the shit out of you if you're not paying attention.
Yep.
So if you're holding on to that disenchant or naturalize, and not blowing up my stuff because you're waiting for the guy across from you to drop his sword, that's perfect. Keep on holding on to that.
Right.
And the other thing is, I can't stand it when people play the same boring stuff all the time. So when you play these weird things that destroy equipments out of nowhere, that makes me feel good that I've kind of ruined your fun because you didn't take the time to play something interesting.
That's pretty good.
That just makes me a dick, though.
Well, I mean, it does seem like, I don't know, like, there is a beauty in winning with some weird-ass card out of nowhere, you know? Like,
Yeah.
There is something, and maybe that's just because I'm a horrible, cranky old man that I would rather just, throw it in some kid's face. But, when someone has to be like, what the fuck is that card? It makes it like a little bit sweeter. So, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, but I mean, I really appreciate just the like surprise. I mean, from the last time that Mike was on, and in general, like if you sit down at every commander table, whether you have a static group or you play at an LGS, and you sit down at every single time, you're like, yeah, okay, that card, that card, that card, that card. The real card pool of like what you see on EDH Rec is what, probably 1,000 cards.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Which is not very interesting.
No, and so with that Nizal deck that I built, it was funny because all I did was grab all the blue cards off my desk that I hadn't put away in binders yet. And
right, exactly, and which is easy enough to do.
Yep, and I put them in sleeves and I drove to the store, and it was after the first game that I realized A, this deck is super powerful, and B, it's going to get boring if I keep playing it because it is so powerful. So let's try to find a way to make it a little less boring.
Yeah.
I hear you. And I think that way, by stripping the cards out one at a time or by sets at a time, I get to have fun with the powerful cards, but then I also get to have fun with cards that aren't so powerful.
Yeah, that's a very nice way to put it, Mike. So, ironically, we're going to wait on the, I think we're just holding off the best till last. We're going to talk about some underused equipment and technology this week. But before we get there for strategy, we're going to talk about how to fight against overused equipment in your meta without just using Vandal Blast, which is probably just the right call. But this is Commander Cast, so we're just not going to... Yeah, we're just, if you want to use your, most effective or, whatever equipment, most efficient spells, that's fine. You're probably listening to the wrong cast anyway. So, if you've got, the crazy swords, etc., they're kind of taking up your meta. How do you fight against it? We've put together a list of very silly things, that we're going to talk about. In no particular order, even though I did alphabetize them. But, anyone want to go first here?
I'll go first.
I think we should let the guests. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I like this one. I want to talk about Artificer's Hex.
Every time I see this card, I wonder why people don't play this card. Probably because it's bad, but I really like this card. It's so weird. Huh.
But it's not bad. Like, I've seen someone drop a Greaves on a table, and then they just use it every turn to put it on their commander, every turn to put it on their newest dude so it gets haste. Like, in our meta, when people play Greaves, it's to protect their commander. And some of those commanders are a real piece of shit to get rid of. So why not just make it so that they kill their own guy, right?
Yeah, there's obviously niche cases of if it has indestructible, then it doesn't work and things like that. And I think arguing something with just the niche cases doesn't help anybody. But Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. This just seems.
It is
Yeah, you effectively shut down that piece of equipment, but it still stays out, and it's I don't know.
It's neat.
It gives you in black a way to deal with artifacts.
That is true. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a very black way.
It is one of the few things you can do there.
Yeah. It's a very black way to deal with it too, because you just curse it. Like you don't kill it. Yeah. You just So I should probably read it at this point. Artificer's Hex is a 1 black enchantment aura. It's out of M14. You enchant equipment, which I think might be the only instance of that in the game. At the beginning of your upkeep, if enchanted equipment is attached to a creature, destroy that creature. So again, just like they were saying, it stays on the equipment itself, and it just becomes, the cursed sword, the cursed set of armor, the cursed whatever, the cursed greaves. It's a very cool and flavorful way to do that, especially to, favorite pieces of equipment that get passed around, like, passed around the table or passed around from creature to creature. So, in the case of greaves, etc.
Yeah, and that's, like, you can get rid of artifacts in black if you jump through enough hoops. But this is a quick and easy way just to take a problem and make that problem go away. So that's why I like it.
Yeah.
I want to play this now. Of course I own, several copies of this. I've never put it in a deck. I think I'm going to.
I would assume I do, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens, I can honestly say I've never seen anyone play it. Even though I've always wanted to. So, fuck it. I'll just, 2018, YOLO, just put it in the deck. Who gives a shit?
Well, yeah, I mean, that is definitely the thing. Like, what do you got to lose? A game? Woo.
Yeah, that's right. Like, ooh, Mark misplayed. Fucking whatever, it's a day that ends in Y. No shit. So. That's totally fine, man. Like, and it's at 1 mana? Like, yeah, it takes up a card slot, but I've wasted way better card slots on way worse cards, so, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a shot. It looks pretty cool. Next, Adam, what was, this is one, again, I own this. I've actually put this one in decks, but I've never actually had it come out, because, I don't know, random number Jesus hates me, so.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen it a couple times. I mean, it's, and it does what it's supposed to do, but you're banking on other people's decks. So, Armory Automaton, is pretty neat. He's a 3-mana construct that's a 2/2. He enters the battlefield or attacks. You may attach any number of target equipment to it. And the place that I think that this makes the most sense is in a deck where you're running a lot of equipment anyway.
Yeah.
And then you just get value if you play it into somebody else's, like Voltron or something like that. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to drop this. I attach all my equipment to it, and I attach your stuff, and it's at the very least a big inconvenience for you to have to, pull it all back off.
Yeah, exactly. I run this in a Godo deck, which is already an equipment deck. Yeah, just I'm just trying to cheat equipment costs. So it's nice to have that upside of hey, sometimes I'll just snatch your stuff too. So.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, very cool. Mike, do you have an experience with Armory Automaton?
Yeah, I have a deck that I've built specifically to use Mycosynth Lattice to turn everything into artifacts. And then I use Bludgeon Brawl to turn all the artifacts into equipment. And then I use this guy to attach all of your lands to him and hit you with your own lands.
Yes, there we go.
Oh my god, that is the deepest.
That is the best play. That's a very Commander Cast play.
I like it.
Deck is fucking garbage. At first I thought it was going to be the awesomest because I didn't read the card, and I thought Armory Automaton gave me control of all the equipments.
Yeah, oh no.
Yeah, so I was going to take all your stuff, hit you with them, and then sacrifice them to, Clan Ironworks or whatever. Yeah,
right.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of the cards that take works.
No, typically
not. It's still fun to do it, or to try to do it, and every time I drop Mycosynth Lattice, people are just like, "Oh, you're one of those players." And I'm like, "Oh, for Christ's sakes, I'm trying something really stupid, so relax." But they'll come at me hard, so then I'll just Vandal Blast.
Yeah,
because I am one of those players. But it's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do something dumb.
Yeah, it's no, seriously, I will Vandal Blast you, but can you please just let me get my Bludgeon Brawl out, really, please?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we have one guy. he's done this to me multiple times. Like, I'll drop Micus and Vladis, and then he just starts coming at me hard, and I'm like, dude, fuck off. Like, let me play my game. And he won't. He'll just keep coming. So I'll Hercules recall all of his shit back to his hand. And I'm like, you know that I'm going to do this to you every time. But he just keeps doing it. So there's not much else I can do about that. And then I get
I do like your initial response, though.
That is the correct response. Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. I mean, Micus and Gladys is one of those cards. Like, you drop it and automatically people see red and they don't even care. And it just bypasses the reason centers of their brain, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you drop a Planeswalker and you're playing against a bunch of people who just got out of standard or some other meta, and you're just like, dude,
right.
It's a Planeswalker and Commander. Like, what do you think I'm gonna do? You know? Like,
let's like Jace the Mind Sculptor in Commander.
Yes, very specifically
like,
Jace.
Oh my god, it's Jace. It's banned in formats. Yeah, not in this one, and there's a reason.
Yeah,
it's not that.
I run Jace in a deck, and I mean, I get some value out of it because
it's fine, but it's not like busted.
Yeah, I often use Jace's bounce creatures ability more than his brainwash ability or brainstorm ability. And I
think is what one should do,
yeah. And I've seen it go off. Like, I've seen the ultimate of Jace once in the past 8 years.
Yeah, I've seen it more than that, but we have a few like Walker players that basically just double season their way to all kinds of things.
It happens. Yeah. I mean, hey, sometimes that Jace thing just kind of like spreads over. I had a guy come at me hard just because I was playing the original Jace Barrelin once. I'm like, dude, I'm giving you a card. He's like,
yeah,
that thing's overpowered.
Yeah. I mean, people like to keep it in check so that you keep having to tick it up instead of, tick it down.
Yep.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. And it's got the best picture of all the Jaces.
That is true. Yeah. I mean, it's not Emo Jace, which is the worst picture of all the Jaces, I think.
But Pirate Jace isn't the worst one, are you sure?
I would take Pirate Jace over Emo Jace. I just can't do something about the black eyeliner. I just can't do, man. So
which Pirate Jace? Because there's two of them.
That is true. Yeah.
There's one from like the kids fun deck, which is the one that I run, and he just looks super fabulous.
Yeah, no, I was definitely going with the Castaway one, but I do get your point.
I think my favorite piece of Jace art before we move on from this is just sad Jace on the beach. That's my favorite Jace.
That's a pretty good one.
That's a really good one. But,
so, Mark.
Yeah, well, actually, it's
what
funny.
Did you pick for your way to deal with
my overused equipment. Yeah. Well, it's funny that Mike was talking about, how almost everything doesn't affect the control of equipment, because I think this might be one of the few that does. And again, this is one of those cards I think I've only ever played it once, but I really dig it. It's way overcosted, but it's kind of neat. So, Murder Spoils is a 6 mana instant, 5 colorless and 1 black. It has a very simple text. You just destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. The kicker is that you gain control of all equipment that was attached to it, and this effect lasts indefinitely. So that one is neat.
Yeah.
This is a way overcosted card. Like, if you're paying 6 to murder a non-black creature, it better have some serious equipment on it. But hey, I mean, there are dudes in our game who get suited up to the nines and then, start swinging. And I guarantee you, no one's going to see your Murder Spoils coming. So
at instant speed, because you're like they're coming at you and they're like, he has 6 mana untapped. He couldn't possibly have anything.
Yeah. Nothing up my sleeve. Yeah.
I run this card.
Oh, really? Oh my God. Okay, tell me a good Murder Spoil story, Mike.
I don't have one.
Okay, deflated ego. That's okay.
I appreciate that punchline. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I do run the card. I don't think it's a bad card. I've run it in a couple different decks. Unfortunately, it just never comes up when I need it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I believe that it has potential to do what you want it to do.
I appreciate both of your rights to believe that.
All right, Adam. So just lay a big old stinky shit all over this pick. So
I mean, I just like 6 mana for like I kind of want to like it, but 6 mana for an instant kill spell. Yeah, you might gain control of an equipment. It can't be regenerated, which might be the best thing about this card. But it's non-black creature, so it doesn't even solve all of your problems. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, okay, I can see where you're coming from, but here's my thing. I've run worse kill spells than this.
Okay.
Yes, very true. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that
run,
is a thing.
is it Annihilate? I think, which is 5,
Mhm.
and it does the same thing. Can't be black, non-regenerating, and I think you get to draw a card.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
hey, you know, I've run worse in my decks too. I do run just Hex in a deck just for funsies, and that's a sorcery speed.
Target creatures, right?
Yeah, it destroys 6 target creatures for 6 mana at sorcery speed. So
Okay, no, yeah, that's bad.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
real bad. So
That's because you need to have all 6 targets there.
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, you do. And all it takes is blanking one of them. So yeah.
I'm gonna sack this guy to any number of things.
Yeah.
Counter your spell.
I think with Murderous Spoils, you're not using it to kill a creature. That's not the goal of Murderous Spoils. That's the bonus of it.
Okay.
I think what you're trying to do here is to gain control of an equipment. So maybe somebody's got Feast and Famine out, and it's using it to either get super value off on tapping all his lands, or he's just punching you in the head because you're in black. So take it away. Take his toys away and kill his dude while you're at it.
Yeah.
Actually, that won't even work. Sorry about that. That's a terrible example.
Yeah. I have a dumb rules question.
Another sword.
I have a dumb rules question before we move on. If you were to target an indestructible creature,
Yeah.
because you had an equipment that gives it indestructible, which is not unheard of for equipment, would this still steal the equipment?
Yep, because it does
Yes.
all the parts that it can. So
Oh.
if you try to destroy, it can't do that. It's not dead, so it can't be regenerated. But you still get the equipment.
That's pretty sweet. Okay, there we go. Well, then I still stand by Murderous Spoils. If for nothing else, just to steal and gain control of equipment, because that doesn't happen all the time, especially in black. So.
Yep.
All right. So, Mike, what's your next pick?
Let's see here. My next pick is Hammer of Ruin.
Yeah.
Just let me pull up the card so I can read it to you.
That's an
Now,
oldie but goodie.
I'll be honest. This may have been the first time I've heard of this card.
Really? I own like 2 copies of this card. So.
Well, I did not play when that block was out.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think a lot of cool underused equipment came out of like Zendikar block. This one's out of Worldwake specifically.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Hammer of Ruin is a 2 converted mana cost. It is an equipment that gives +2/+0, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you can destroy target equipment that player controls. It costs 2 to equip, and it is currently selling for 20 cents.
Yep.
Yep. So, if you don't have a copy, how about you just take that quarter out of your pocket and you can be a Hammer of Ruin player? Well, because it gives your guys a bit of a buff, and you throw it on a trample dude, and you can just start knocking down equipments. It comes out of nowhere. It's basically hot garbage, and well, it's not going to get attacked by other players. But the guy who's running the sword now starts to sweat a bit because he's got to leave a blocker up so that his sword's not getting smashed by your guy.
Mm.
This is the second piece of equipment that I've found that will destroy other equipments. That's kind of why I like it.
I mean, if you were playing like a Nazan deck, I think that totally works. You know, you either you search it up or you just have it in your deck. You know, regardless, throw it on there, and you're using it with something else. I think you kind of have to. Like, you can't just like one-off throw this in your deck. At least I don't think so, unless you're. I guess if you were playing a big stompy green, but if you're playing big stompy green, then I guess you don't really give a shit about equipment anyway. I don't know, but it would be neat to kind of throw in and see. Like I said, I own a couple copies of this card.
I see it being
go ahead.
played as like, if you're already in kind of an equipment-centric deck or like a Voltron deck, then I think that this slots in pretty easily there. You're making your guy a little bit bigger. I like equipment that kind of have that extra little, advantage to it. Like, I don't have to put in a shatter, horrible card, but you know what I mean. To deal with people's equipment if I have this in there, and it's already going along with the theme of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it's like a little extra bonus, and it's not, it's
Yeah.
pretty cost effective too. I mean, you pay 2, equip for 2. It's not crazy.
Well, when you
Right.
look at Dark Steel Axe, which is cost 2, equips for 1, and gives a creature +2/+0, for paying 1 more on the equip cost, you're getting this pretty huge extra ability.
Yeah,
and I know
right.
that when we play, people aren't using equipment in order to use their guys to get bigger, to knock your life total down. That's not what equipment is around here. Here, equipment is used for its extra abilities. So Feast and Famine is everywhere. And they're using that to untap your lands. Most of the time, when people put Feast and Famine, they forget that it makes the opponent discard a card.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't care. Fire and Ice, people are using it not for the draw card, but mostly for the deal 2 damage. And so when they're playing these cards, it's almost like an enchantment or an artifact, not an equipment, but they're just getting that extra value out of it. So why not take that away from them, right? Now, sure, you could just use spot removal and take it out, but by using an equipment to take out equipment, you're not wasting extra card slots on spot removal that can be used for something more important.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I mean, commander players are nothing if not fiends for some little extra value on every card. So this is definitely doing it. And, +2/+0 is not insignificant buff, depending on, you put this on your commander, then you could conceivably go from a 3 or, a 4 or 5 turn clock to a 2 or 3 turn clock. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely cool, and it definitely deserves another look. And just like Mike said, if you happen to have a quarter, this is a pretty easy buy. So.
Right.
Like, again, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, you spend 20 cents on a card and it doesn't work out. Oh, shucks. Yeah.
Well, no, that's not the worst that could happen. Like, you could spend that quarter on this card, find yourself in the middle of the fucking desert, and you're about to die of thirst next to a payphone, and you can't phone. Like, that's the worst that could happen.
That's some next level shit. So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like, you took that, like,
I
was thinking the worst that could happen is I could find myself with a Canadian quarter.
Well, that's not worth anything.
Are they not? I have no idea what the exchange rate is right now.
I believe it's around 76 Canadian cents for each American dollar.
Oh, God.
I think.
Yeah, that's real bad.
Well, that's actually...
Is that
was
bad?
ahead of us for a while, wasn't it?
No. You're thinking of...
there was a short time about 15 years ago where we were at $1.06 Canadian to $1 American.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
But that didn't last for very long. That was only maybe about a year to a year and a half.
Okay.
I mean, this is really just putting, like, American ignorance on display, which is fine. I mean, that happens all the time anyway. So, like, I have no idea.
For most of my life, the Canadian dollar has been about 80% of the American dollar.
That's always what I kind of pegged it in my head, which is why I was surprised that, Adam, you were shocked at the 76 cents thing. Like, I just kind of it always kind of seemed like that.
Yeah, I guess I just had that point in time in my head for some reason.
Huh.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's been like that for as long as I can remember.
Okay.
Wow. See, Hammer of Ruin teaching us about the world economy and destroying equipment.
There you go.
This is good stuff. All right. Adam, what's your second pick?
All right, so my second pick is going to be one that I legitimately play in one of my decks. It's a fun one. Oh God, but now I have to make it come up, and it's one of those split cards, and it's going to troll me. All right,
yeah.
So Pure and Simple is the card. So the Pure side is a sorcery that says for 1 a red and a green colored permanent, and the Simple side is 1 a green and a white sorcery that says destroy all auras and equipment. I mean, I just like this one because of the versatility. Like, you're able to, potentially blow up most people's commanders probably with the Pure side. If somebody happens to be playing Voltron and they're really deep into it, you can just blow up all their auras and equipment at the same time. I actually really like this card. I think it's totally playable and probably stupid cheap.
Yeah, well, this one is 22 cents. So
I don't know. I'm going to say this is totally unplayable because it's in Naya colors.
What?
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Sorry, man.
Mike, I didn't realize you had a thing against Naya, man. Huh.
Yeah.
I love the idea of Naya. I bought Hazes on Tamar years ago specifically to build that deck, and every time I build a Naya deck, I just get so bored of it so quickly.
Hey man, I hear you. I feel the same way about Jund. So, like, every time I build a Jund deck,
I get that one more.
Yeah.
I like Naya a lot.
Oh, I don't know. Like, it's just so...
I mean, I will say my one defense of Naya is a one-word defense: Godsire. So, like, if you're a Timmy, I just get the biggest fucking Timmy hard on from that card. I'm like, an 8/8 that makes more 8/8s. Oh, so
that is the typical reaction.
Yeah. So that's, and then I have to clean it up a little bit and then I get back to playing, so it's fine. Very cool card. I even like the art on this card. I don't know. Go Paolo Parente. Good stuff, man.
I like the Gruul half of it. I think that's great. Like,
right.
And it's got a cool picture. But the Selesnya bit.
I mean, Selesnya is always a little hippie-ish, It's like, I don't know. They're always a little weird. They're doing weird stuff with dryads, and I don't know. They all look like they just are either going to sleep or just woke up from a nap. Like every single dryad I've ever seen in Magic. It's like,
but I think if you are in Naya colors, though, this is totally worth playing.
Sure.
It's got enough uses to it, that you can definitely justify putting this in.
100%. I agree with you there.
Yeah. I would say even if, like last week when we were talking about group hug decks, like in a Kineas and Tiro deck, like I would slot this in. It fits in the colors,
absolutely.
and it's just a really good modal kill spell. So totally works for removal on a lot of levels. So. Let's see. What's the second one? Mike, I have to apologize, man, because I had a couple ideas, and I was looking through the picks that you had put on, just as like introducing this topic, and I'm like, fucking Mike's picks are way better than my picks. So, and I actually play them too. So my next two I just unabashedly stole, but I'll start off with Tower of the Magistrate.
Oh, you bastard!
Yeah, it's so good, man. I'm sorry, I totally scooped you on this one, because this one, like, I own a copy of this card, and I have never played it. I'm just like, I have like, I don't know, indecision paralysis when I come to this card. I'm like, what? I could put this in any deck, so I can't put this in any deck. Like I just don't know where it would fit. It's just so fucking weird. But anyway, Tower of the Magistrate it just taps for a colorless. It's out of Mercadian Masks, and you pay 1 and then tap it, and its ability is the target creature gains protection from artifacts until end of turn. So, Mike, I'm sure you have more experience with this, because my experience with this card is sitting in a binder and thinking how cool it would be and never playing it. So, tell me all about Tower of the Magistrate, man.
So if you go to suit up your commander with Lightning Greaves, I'm just going to give it protection from artifacts.
Yeah.
And now those Greaves can't go on. And they can't go on until the end of the turn, which at that point, they're kind of useless. And I'll do this to you every turn if I need to. And then the other good thing is, let's say you have got a guy who's playing a creature and he gets his equipment on. Now it's not going to work for anything that gives Shroud or Hexproof, but if he puts a sword on his guy, let him attack with that creature, and then give that creature protection from artifacts in the attack phase. That sword falls off, and then you block and you shit on this parade.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that an awful lot.
That's the way I like it.
Yeah. Now, what deck do you play this in? Because that is, again, like I said, my big problem here.
I put it into Nizal, actually.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. And I got fucked with it the other day because someone managed to steal it from me, and I forget what I was doing, but I was doing something with artifacts, and it wasn't very nice, and so they gave their creatures or my creatures protection from artifacts and ended up screwing me with it. But that's not how it's supposed to happen.
I mean, I think this one is definitely good in colorless decks, and then I think this is also a meta call. If you know your meta well enough, you can put this in there. We have a very notorious Voltron player, so at some point, this just gets slotted in. It's like, yeah, come at me, bro. That's fine.
There's another thing that you can do with this. I know that last time I was on, I talked about my pet card, Squee, but I also have another one, which is liquid metal coating.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
That'll work with this, too. You can start giving your creatures protection from a certain opponent's creature or stuff like that.
Right.
It'll work that way, too. So it's not like this is a one-trick pony. You can do a couple different things with it.
That's a cool little 2-card mini combo there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other things you can do with it are... actually, that doesn't work. So that's the only thing you can do with it.
Well, I mean, it is just a cool, like, I don't know, side case, like protection from artifacts or protection from weird things, is one of my... I don't know. I strangely really like that. Like Circle Protection Shadow is like one of my favorite dumb cards.
Oh God.
You know, it's just like, I'm never going to use this fucking card. Why do I even own this thing? But it's kind of neat. So, you know, it's like a really fancy can opener. It's like I can accomplish the same thing with, you know, like a fucking hinge, 2 handles, and a crank. But I don't know. I'll go pay some money and like get one of those the crazy ones that like I used to have that little knob that like sits on the edge of the can opener and like flies around on its own. Like, that's cool.
Right.
This is fucking stupid and it cost me $50. Sweet.
Oh, my girlfriend has a can opener that I'm pretty sure you need a fucking engineering degree to figure out.
Yeah.
And I've got the old kind. Like, my grandma was like, Michael, go out and buy one of these ones. You'll never buy another one. And so I did it. She's right. I've never had to buy another one. But then my girlfriend's got one where you stick it and it cuts the side of the can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm turning this thing and I'm like, what's happening? And she's like, keep going. And I keep turning it and I'm like, I don't understand this. It scares me.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally the top comes off, and I'm just like, I'm fucking dumbfounded at this. Why
Yep.
just open a can the regular way? But, I don't know. Works for her, so.
100%. Like, there are some things that, like, you do not need to improve the technology upon. And can openers are definitely one of those. But, hey. And this is going to be a bad segue. We're going to use it anyway. Speaking of can openers, I think you could probably characterize Mike's next pick that way. Because this is definitely one of my favorite equipments, and it will definitely chop the edges off anybody's battle strategy. So
What?
Yeah, I'm lost now.
yeah, that was bad, man. I was going for it and it didn't work. So
I think my next card is Manriki Gusari.
yeah,
So Manriki Gusari is a 2-cost. It's artifact equipment, and equipped creature gets +1/+2 and has tap to destroy target equipment, and it equips for 1. This thing costs 74 cents, so
whew. But I don't know.
Get them now.
you can get your artifact destruction on for under $1.
Yep.
I love this thing. You just put it on and just machine gun down your other guys or your opponent's stuff.
Yeah, for 1, man, it's so good.
Yeah. And it gives you a pretty substantial little boost. Like +1/+2 makes your ass kind of bigger, which is good for protecting your creatures. You know, from just those little people running at you with 3/3s. Well, you put this on a guy, and now all of a sudden you can soak up some of that damage.
Yeah.
Put it on your commander. If you've got a commander that does like literally nothing, stick it on there, and then now if they drop an equipment, destroy it and protect your commander at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, I like this actually more in the Voltron type thing. I mean, because again, it's similar to what I was saying about the Hammer of Ruin. Like, yeah, slap this on your commander that you're Voltroning up. You know, it makes it a little bit bigger, and on top of that, it has the added bonus if you need to take care of somebody's equipment, you got it right on there.
Yeah. The most success I ever had with this card was on, I think it was in like a Boros token strategy. And I was doing the same thing Mike said. Like, you can kind of machine gun down some stuff if somebody's got a lot of equipment out on the other side. Because you can just pay the 1 and keep attaching it to different creatures. It's not a big deal.
Yep.
I do think, it's funny because I first heard about this card actually on Commander Cast. This was an old secret tech segment. And I remember being like, what? Something specifically just destroys equipment? Fucking mind blown. So yeah, really cool card. That's one, like, there's a weird cycle, and we'll talk about some Kamigawa cards in the next tech segment too, of like weird Kamigawa equipment that's not, like, pretty much Kamigawa equipment boils down to, like, good Kamigawa equipment boils down to, you know, like the one card everyone uses, and then there's everything else. So, you know. I
would argue that this is not a good Voltron card.
Really?
Yeah, because to me, if you're going to Voltron up your dude, you're going to want to be attacking with him. So, in my opinion, you'd be better off to go with the Hammer of Ruin. You're going to get the same effect, right? You're going to destroy an equipment. But you're going to get a bigger front-end buff, and you're going to be attacking. Whereas with this thing, you're going to have to make the decision of, am I going to attack, or am I going to destroy an equipment? Now, if you've given the guy Vigilance, maybe that's not such a hard decision to make. But, without Vigilance, now you're kind of splitting your turn up into either an attack or a destroy. Whereas with the Hammer, you're going to do both.
Right.
That's just one man's opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. I can see that.
I would say...
I mean...
Oh, go ahead, Adam.
maybe this ends up going in a. See, now it just becomes a build around for me. Now I want to make a tokens deck with Mycosynth Lattice and Bludgeon Brawl.
Yeah.
And then infinite mana so that I can attach this to everything and destroy everything.
Sure, yeah, you're not wrong for doing that. Like, no one's gonna hold it against you for that. I would say I'm desperately trying to find the name of the fucking mechanic, and it's gonna bother the shit out of me. What's the mechanic that does shit from Theros when things untap? It's not inspired. Is it inspired? I kept thinking that. No, that was heroic. I was thinking of. So I think this works really neat with inspired cards, particularly like there's an inspired one. There's a white inspired card which I actually run. And of course, I can't fucking find it. Where when you untap, he makes 2 dudes.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so like in a token strategy like that, or maybe just a strategy where things untap. Like I put this. Not that it's come up yet, but I also put this in a King Makar deck. You know?
Yeah.
Because, for obvious fucking reasons. But, like, anything that, like, you might untap, there's a merfolk that whenever he becomes tapped, you draw a card, you know?
Yep.
So, like, there are little tiny things I think you could put in and get, like, extra value, I suppose, if you want to call it that way, with Manriki Gusari. Because there are definitely times that, like, you want to tap those creatures and get a little extra, and maybe destroy some equipment, too. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to win a game, though, is just to get that little bit of extra value.
Yeah, just like crank value. I still adhere to Andy's old advice. It's not how many cards you draw. It's the person who uses their resources the wisest, or the most wisely that wins. You know.
Well, that's that Aiden Oakenshield deck that we talked about earlier. The goal in that deck is to tap out all my lands at the end of my turn, every turn.
Huh.
So, and if I do that, I usually win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a pro player who basically led it to. I mean, it might have even been like Lewis Scott Vargas or somebody like that indicated that like it tends toward in Magic the people who use the maximum amount of resources available each turn ends up winning the game. So if you can effectively tap out every turn and actually use things to forward your board state, you're more likely to win than anybody else.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep. If you sit down and watch a game, or if you're in one, just keep a bit of a mental note and look at the winner and look at his stack of land, or look at his mana resources at the end of the game.
Right.
Now, the reason I say that is because I played a game on Monday where I was about to leave, and the guys were like, "Let's play one more," and I'm like, "Well, if we do, it's got to be a quick one." And I said, "Okay, I'll play Krenko." And I won that game with 3 land on the table.
Right.
Right?
Huh.
Now, that's because I had Krenko and I had, what's the Phyrexian one that lets you sacrifice creatures for mana? It's not Phyrexian Altar. Oh, yeah, it is Phyrexian.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And so I was just sacrificing goblins for mana. But when you look at the end of a game, you'll notice that the guy who's won the game most likely has the fattest stack of lands, or the fattest stack of mana rocks. Well, that's winning because he has the ability to do more things than you do, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that's why I think the slight value of doing one extra thing every turn, yeah, you'll win the game.
Yeah.
Pretty good advice.
All right, Mark. I want to talk about yours, and we can talk about the art too.
Oh, you skipped over yours, man.
Oh, okay. I mean, we can do mine first. That's fine.
Well, I mean, hey, why don't we just go like, I was actually excited to talk about yours because I really I play yours quite a bit, so.
I have played mine before. Not a ton, but yeah. So, Volshock Battlemaster, 4 and a red for a 2/2 human warrior with haste. And when it comes into play, attach all equipment in play to it. So, again, I mean, this is very similar to my first pick, which was the Armory Automaton.
Oh, hold on. You missed one part on that rules text.
Control of equipment does not change.
Doesn't change, Mike. It doesn't change.
Yeah. It is good. Yeah, I do feel like sometimes I need to write rules in the back of my hand when I'm playing, and like that card doesn't actually do what I think that card does.
Right.
Yeah, happens.
But the thing that really makes this good and slightly better than Armory Automaton is that it has haste. So it's very possible to just straight out kill somebody with this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you have a board of literally nothing, like somebody just wrathed and it's like, oh, you have a whole bunch of derpy equipment out, who cares? All right, well, I'm going to cast this and I'm going to attach everything and kill you. You know, like that is a real play that can happen, that can completely change things. Also, it's good defensively because it gets rid of your opponent's stuff, at least temporarily, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So that you get to use it. And yeah, it's good times. I like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, most of the time I play this just to cheat equipment costs, equip costs on my stuff.
Yeah.
But I use it kind of as like a backup in my Godo deck. But also, like, I don't know, man, the achievement unlocked is going to be me bludgeoning people to death. Like this, bludgeon brawl, steal everybody's mana rocks, and then go to town, you know?
Yep.
That with, like, additional attack steps, like, it's gonna happen one day, and then I'm just gonna quit the game. I'm just gonna be like, nope, I have nothing else to do in life, so I'm good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's really good, man.
The only thing I don't like about this is the casting cost.
Yeah, I mean, it's
stuff.
a little on the high side, but I mean, in the right scenario, I would easily pay $5 for that.
Like, I run it in my Bludgeon Brawl deck.
Yeah.
It's in there partially because I didn't read the card, but
okay. Yeah.
I don't think it does the exact same thing as Armory Automaton, except it has haste. And haste has traditionally been costed as 1 red, right? Like when you look at adding haste to a thing, it's usually either 1 colorless or 1 red.
Yeah.
So why not knock it down to 2 red as opposed to 4?
Yeah, I mean, it easily could be in today's design sensibility.
Yeah.
But, I mean, from Mirrodin, like, obviously creatures were a little weaker.
Yeah, creatures are a little weaker, costs were a little bit higher, especially because, like, I don't think they knew at the time, like, what to do with equipment. Like, maybe they thought this was going to be crazy overpowered, you know? And it was, like, the equipment cycle, right? Like, this is where equipment started.
Well, exactly.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing is, like, they had to cost it for standard play, too, and if you made it 4, then it would probably see a lot of play in standard as opposed to 5, which it probably saw none.
Yeah, well, probably would have ended up more than the 36 cents is currently worth.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah. Anyway, so my last one again, I am just a fucking horrible plagiarist, and I've stolen again from Mike, because I do actually play this card. I play this card in an Aiden Oakenshield deck, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
It goes in my Commander 95 deck. So, because it was legal in Antiquities the first time it was printed. So Zenic Poltergeist is 1 colorless and 2 black. You tap it. It's a 1/1 in case anyone gives a shit. And it's also a spirit that doesn't fly, but that bothers me on just like a primal level, that there are spirits who don't fly in Magic. Like, I don't get that. But anyway, its ability is to tap until your next upkeep, target non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power and toughness, each equal to its converted mana cost. So you tap and it's like a single March of the Machines. So,
yep.
Yeah. It's dumb.
It's awesome. The flavor here is great. It honestly
really
should be an 0/1 and it shouldn't fly.
Can Poltergeist not fly?
Well, I mean, a poltergeist is just a spirit that inhabits a physical object, correct?
I mean, I guess. I thought a poltergeist was something that, like, just messed with physical objects. Doesn't necessarily have to inhabit it. We don't have to go,
I thought that they actually embodied them. Like they essentially did exactly what this does. I will look that up as you talk about Poltergeist.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm getting it wrong.
Movie Poltergeist as your research.
That is true. I mean, I think I'm basing this mostly on that fucking creepy clown. So, what do I know? Or maybe the tree, but I don't know. Does that count as occupying a non-animate object? Because the tree is animate. So I don't fucking know. Anyway, yeah, I really, yeah. Whoa, deep talk on Commander Cast. So, Zenic Poltergeist is just a fun, stupid artifact that artifact messing with thing. Like, I like to put it in black decks and mess with artifacts. For obvious reasons, But just like Mike said at the beginning, like with Artificer's Hex, there's not too much stuff in black that you can mess with to mess with artifacts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's only a few. I mean, there's a what is it? Phyrexian Tribute?
I think it's like Phyrexian Tribute, Phyrexian Gate. Or Gate to Phyrexia.
Yeah.
So those are the two, and then like I suppose you could do like there's a Destroy Permanent in colorless. Like that's 7 costed instant.
Exile target permanent.
Yeah. So I'm like, I guess, but like Zenic Poltergeist, if you manage to take something out with Zenic Poltergeist, like you should win. Like you get the flavor win on that. So
yeah. No, I agree. I think it's solid.
Yeah.
You can use this along with liquid metal coating.
There we go. Yeah.
Now you start taking out all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, you animate their lands and they die, and now we're right back to...
You're a bad person.
I like where you're headed, sir. But come on, man. Like, it's not like Karn, Micus, and Gladys. If you manage to kill somebody's land with a Zenic Poltergeist, like, I feel like they kind of have to give you props.
They deserve it. That was harder than strip mining them. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
I actually run this in a Shiri deck, and because it is a 1/1, that way I come back. I use this to get rid of equipments. I also use this for getting rid of mana rocks, because I'll turn them into creatures, and then I run a lot of like Grave Pact effects in that deck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
I'll turn your dudes or your mana rocks into dudes, and then I'll just sacrifice all my creatures, and then you lose all your mana rocks. So, and if you put it with liquid metal coating, like you said, you can just take out their lands straight away. You can do the same thing and take out their enchantments. It gives black a bit more removal. Now, like I said before, you got to jump through a hell of a lot of hoops.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is these are hoops that people don't see coming, right? So when you're doing this, they're like, oh, okay, there's another one of Mike's garbage cards. And then you take out one of their good stuff things, and they're like, oh, Jesus Christ, here we go again.
Yeah. Can I just say that my favorite use for Zenic Poltergeist is blowing up mana crypts? So, it's the fucking best. So
I mean, that is cute.
This is, and you just can't. You're just like, oh, it's like when a puppy shits on the rug. It's like you can't hate him, you know? You're like,
you can. What do you?
Yeah.
He's cute, man. Come on, that was the point of the analogy right there.
But if I had like a cute girl come to my house and shit on my rug, it's still pissed off.
I think you might have bigger problems at that point. Like if I did have a girl come over and do that, we got to talk about all kinds of things going on in their life. So
well, right, but I invest much more in a female human than a dog.
I mean, yes, I guess. All right, fine. So fucking for the second time today, my analogy fell apart. My analogies, I can't do analogies today. Can't do fucking segues. I don't know.
That's really, it's okay.
It's fine, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know how to host a podcast. Fuck it. So, all right, gentlemen. Well, I believe, unless there's anything else on this list that we really want to talk about, there's some obvious ones on here. We talked about Karn on here. Inadvertently, I talked about March of the Machines. There are other, unsurprisingly, a bunch of really janky ass solutions that come out of Mirrodin Block, where most of this stuff comes out of.
Yeah.
Sidra Galvanic Genius is a cool way to kind of do derpy stuff, poltergeisty things. One of my favorites, I don't know, real quick before we go, anyone else had good luck with Grip of Phyresis? I mean,
I put it in a deck and immediately regretted
it. I've tried it, and I don't know, it's a great idea.
Exactly. Yes, I agree.
I think it's an awesome idea, but again, it's just one of those cards like Murderous Spoils where you just need the right time.
Yeah.
It has to happen, like the stars have to align, but when they do, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of these, that probably goes for a lot of these cards, is like they're better ideas than they are in actuality, For a flavor win, I love Eaten by Spiders, so that's just fucking baller. I don't think I would put that in a deck, even though...
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's like Magnetic Theft.
Yeah.
I like that card too. I'm never going to play it, but I like it.
Yeah. Like, Carry Away is better, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, you're going through so many steps, you're like, is this really worth it? Like, I think Soul Nova is the same way, or like Rust Spore Ram. It's like,
I feel like it's that time. And we should stop hating on things. We should stop hating on the equipment, and we should move on to the wonders that are our equipment.
Yes.
It's almost like we should talk about technology in our technology segment.
So, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't look at the notes.
Sweet. That's fine. That's what I put in there for, so we don't look at it. All good. All right, ladies and gents. So that'll wrap up our strategy segment for this week. Stick around. We are finally going to get to talk about the thing that we wanted to talk about, which is underused equipment in EV8, which is just a cool topic in general. So stick around with us, folks, and we will give you our picks for the favorite things to equip your little
how do you guys highlight stuff?
Oh, it's in Google Docs. It makes not a whole lot of sense, but at the top you can see where you do bold, italics, and underline.
Yeah.
There's a text color, so if you click on that box, you can change the text color or a highlight.
Oh wow! Thanks,
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fucking pain in the ass. So it's dumb. So just because it's Google. So hey, should we talk about Bludgeon? I realized we didn't actually read Bludgeon Brawl. Should we just talk about that at the top? Or do you think
I
we're
think
good
we just
by
talked about it throughout, basically.
We
Yeah.
just assume that everyone.
We're just
goes
like, yeah,
on.
whatever. Yeah, okay. I guess we're good. All right. Yay, technology. All right, ladies and gentlemen, finally we get to the meat of this show. Underused technology in EDH. So, underused equipment, rather, in EDH. So, Mike, you brought this to us. I think it's a really cool topic, man. Why did you want to talk about underused equipment in EDH?
I just thought it would be fun. I thought it would be different to discuss just something that you don't often hear about. Like, when I go to work and I'm supposed to be working, I'm actually listening to podcasts or I'm watching YouTube videos, and a lot of the time it's the top 10 cards in EDH, the top 10 equipments in EDH.
Right.
I don't give a shit about the top 10 things. Like, I've seen all those. I want to find the stuff that's fun and interesting to play. So I thought it might be cool for us to do the top 10 underused cards in EDH. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like that. So that's why I want to talk about it. And then also, the thing that I love about Commander Cast is that you guys often talk about little weird things, and then I think, oh wow, I have a great idea for this. I'm going to try this out, or something along those lines. And I don't know if you guys remember way back when Andy did I think it was like the $30 deck challenge.
Yeah, the Rexiel deck. Yep.
I have that deck.
Oh, that's it. I actually tried to build that myself, but I couldn't fit it into $30. So, I mean, inflation is a thing, but
I couldn't get it under $30 either, but I kept the idea of using weirder cards, like or old stuff and stuff that's not as sought after or seen as much. And it turns out that the deck will win an awful lot because it comes out of nowhere, but it's also fun and people get to see stuff that they've never seen before. And I don't know. I think we should do another $30 deck challenge, or maybe for inflation, $35 challenge.
Yeah,
something along those lines.
It's funny. Some of the guys that I play with around my area, we did 2DH. We're getting into that a little bit, and that's fun. Like that's a really cool, like, jamming 2DH cards against each other. Like, I actually put together a Tulsimir Wolfblood deck. There was a 2DH. It's fucking bananas fun. And that actually wins way more times than it's any right to,
Right.
What's 2DH?
2DH is where no card can cost more than $2.
Even your commander?
Even your commander. Yeah. I think there might be, I think it might, like, commander, it might, go up to 5, maybe. But I'm pretty sure it's around 2. And just to keep it in spirit, we kept ourselves to $2. So, even for the commanders. And plus, like, I don't know, like, I had a Tulsimir Wolfblood hanging around. What the fuck am I going to do with that card, So in one way, it was also a cool way to kind of do things. I also had this weird guilt behind, like, having a shit ton of cards in my collection that I never play. Like, if you only ever play the most efficient things, that's literally 99% of the cards you're never going to play.
Yeah.
So, like, what fucking fun is that? You crack all these cards out of a pack or a box or whatnot, or just, picking them up for here, there, and whatever, and you never play them because they're not the most efficient thing. Like,
yeah.
Ugh, I don't know. That is nothing about that. Nothing about that sentence is appealing to me on a personal level or a player level. So, I don't know. I do really want to talk about that first card that you highlighted, Mike. And I figure we could probably just go in alphabetical order, because we all picked way more than 3. So, yeah. So let's just start off at the top, because I think, Mike, this is the one you were alluding to earlier, and I definitely play the crap out of this card, and I never see anyone else play it. So,
yeah.
I have not run it.
Okay, I've not run it either. But in my research for the show, I found this card, and when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. So it's called Chariot of Victory. There is an exact reprint called Haunted Cloak. And what Chariot of Victory is, it's a 3 casting cost equipment that gives trample, first strike, haste, and it equips for 1. So this gives you the haste that you're looking for your lightning greaves or your swiftfoot boots. Same thing, it costs 1, but you get first strike and trample with it. So I'm starting to think that maybe instead of swiftfoot boots, I start putting this thing in.
It's really good.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I like the Haunted Cloak picture too. It's better than the Chariot one.
Yeah,
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is close to as good as the Swiftfoot boots, right? Or maybe better.
Yeah,
it comes down on 3 though. Like I don't like that as my setup turn.
I'm gonna say don't pick. Like I run both. In any deck where I run Chariot of Victory, I also run Swiftfoot boots.
Sure. Okay.
Because most of the time I'm doing like if my game plan involves some form of equipment, like it's hard to get better than a Swiftfoot boots or a Greaves. You know, I actually I prefer Swiftfoot boots over Greaves because of the hexproof versus the shroud.
Right.
Because I'm too stupid to order it properly, and I end up like not being able to equip shit afterwards. So I that's why I usually prioritize Swiftfoot boots. But Chariot of Victory is actually really cool, and once you get it out. And I'm usually running some kind of like cost reducer somewhere because I'm a fucking idiot and I run cost reducers all over the place. But that equip for 1 is so good, you know?
Yeah.
Like moving around to stuff and like shit gets blown up in EDH left, right, and center, you know. A lot of times the downside for equipment is a high equip cost because when I have to re-equip after the inevitable board wipe, it really kind of puts me back and it really puts me on my heels. But like Chariot of Victory really nicely negates that. I really dig it. And same thing with the cloak too, but I for some reason I just own copies of Chariot of Victory. I don't own the cloak. I don't feel like, even though the art is way more badass, like I don't feel the need to go out and buy it. So, like,
I just want to say, the cloak gives vigilance, trample, and haste, and the Chariot gives first strike,
trample, and haste.
No,
I actually like the vigilance more, I think.
Yeah, my well-known prejudice against vigilance, would lead me to the Chariot, so.
But I mean, like, you're right. To me, that equip 1 cost is perfect.
Yeah.
Right? And it goes back to when we were talking about the Battle Master and how that haste should only cost 1. That's the price that I'm prepared to pay for haste.
Right.
Yep.
And that's, like, it boils down to economics. If I'm prepared to pay it, then I'm going to use it. If I'm not prepared to pay that cost, that equipment's going to sit in the box with all the other shit that I don't want to see anymore.
Fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think I had originally came across Chariot of Victory when I was, I don't know, playing Draft in Theros or something, and I kind of put it aside. But when you're looking for equipment that gives haste, or trample, rather, and it's very rare to get both,
right.
It's really kind of hard, especially if you're not in the right colors. If you're not in green, you're not in red, like, kind of assed out. Like, I play in a Mistform Ultimus deck. Fucking good luck trying to find trample and haste in blue, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, like that one, I've been a huge fan of Chariot of Victory. Definitely pick it up. Like, the 3 casting cost seems intimidating, but whatever. I mean, it's 3. Who cares? You pay it once and you're good.
So trample is something that should definitely be tacked onto the next card.
Yeah, it definitely
It's the
should.
only thing that's holding it like really far back, because I actually do run this in a deck, and it's not great. But if it had trample,
Yeah, I'd just like to put a caveat that none of them great.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
I mean, I don't know. I'll make an argument for some of the later ones being great.
I will say, Mike's next pick down there, I do think is pretty goddamn great.
Right.
But yeah, Dragon Throne of Tarkir, you might not always get there with Dragon Throne of Tarkir. What I like to do with Dragon Throne of Tarkir is generally speaking, I'll put it on like my commander or another dude with a big butt somewhere or something else that's not. Sometimes I'll just put it on like a utility dude, you know, or something else that has an activated ability, does not involve a tap that I can still use afterwards, and I just use it to pump up my team. So
right, you got like a Soul of the Harvest in your, token deck or whatever.
Right, yeah, you're like, I'm never doing anything with that.
You put this on the Soul of the Harvest, and then all your tokens are giant.
Yeah, exactly. So this is expressly in a go wide strategy. So Dragon's Own Tarkir is a 4 colorless legendary artifact equipment. I'm not sure why it had to be legendary, whatever fucking flavor reasons. Equip creature as defender and pay 2 Tap it. Other creatures you control gain trample and +X until end of turn, where X is this creature's power. So, I have also put this in, oh god, I forgot the name of the fucking hellion. Throwmock. So I throw this in a Throwmock deck.
Right.
Occasionally, because I don't, like, everyone wants to kill Throwmock right away, because he's usually fucking enormous. And I'll usually throw it on something else, and then make Throwmock enormous. Or I'll, or like that deck also has, oh god, Mike, what was the Wolves card that you pulled out yesterday for messing with graveyards? It makes like 1 million wolves based on the number of dudes in your graveyard.
Oh, Kessage Cage Breakers.
Yes, Kessage Cage Breakers. So I fucking love this in a deck with Kessage Cage Breakers, because the scariest thing is, when you can see the army getting huge, but like with Kessage Cage Breakers, like the army doesn't even exist up until Kessage Cage Breakers is there, and then you do this during your attack step, and they're like, oh shit, I'm fucked. So
the real problem that I have with this comes down to the same thing that I have about, what is it, Captain's Hook from the newest set. Like,
okay.
I get what you were going for. It's a rare. Why? Why is it costed the way that it is? It's unplayable, nearly costed the way that it is. It costs you 9 mana to get this effect once.
Yeah.
Every single color can do an overrun effect for that. Oh, they do gain trample. I'm stupid. But anyway, every single color can do an overrun effect for less than 9.
Sure. Well,
so
maybe not blue, but yeah.
I feel like I can find a blue effect that does that. No, yeah, isn't there,
Omniscience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or any of the other big blue cards.
I guess. How about this? You can definitely win in probably more efficient ways. I would argue you could probably apply that to almost every other card on this list as well. But, yeah. I don't play Dragonstone Tarkir a lot, but I do like it in go-wide strategies occasionally.
I mean, yeah, it's a cute ad, absolutely. And I mean, I think that you could potentially win some games with it. But, yeah, 9 mana for that effect is just, it's a lot.
It's stupid expensive. It's super
I agree. Expensive. It's either they should have lowered the equip cost, or they should have taken that 2 out of the activation cost.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I'm going to drop this and use it on the same turn.
Right.
Right? And so let's say I do play it on one turn. If I've already used this to win one game, people are going to see it coming, and they're going to take it out. Right?
Yeah,
true.
No, 9 is just too much. If you've got 9 mana, just win the fucking game more efficiently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I will say that, I mean, in a deck, and again, like, you have to slice the pie so fucking thin, but in, like, a Kemba deck, when you're already doing equipment, and you're already making tokens, and you're already doing these other things, and you've probably already got ways to cheat equip costs,
right?
This can be okay. So, right. We're going fucking several layers deep for this one, but I do feel it's probably more playable than my second card, even though my second card is the one I like way more. So
I mean, I like this one. I would play this one more readily than that, honestly.
I actually do play this one.
I play this one too. So my second card is Elbrus the Binding Blade. Fucking love this card. So. Elbrus, and you know it's good because it got reprinted from the vaults. It's not like they print bad cards in those. Come on. So Elbrus the Binding Blade is 7 mana legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0. Totally legit for paying 7 for something. When an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you unattach Elbrus the Binding Blade and then transform it. Its equip cost is 1. And the other side is Withengar Unbound. Withengar Unbound is a legendary creature demon. He's a 13/13 with flying, intimidate, and trample. Whenever a player loses the game, put 13 +1/+1 counters on Withengar Unbound.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't like about this, because I think this is fine to play. The only thing I don't like about it is some of the weird timing interactions that you get into with it, because so you get to flip it after combat damage has been dealt, right? Okay, so you flip it.
Yes. Yeah, because you would have to deal combat damage first. So yeah.
Right. So you flip it when the combat damage gets dealt, but then the player has already lost the game because your thing is a trigger. State-based effects happen in between the damage and the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so that person's already dead, so I don't get the 13 counters. Also, I've already attacked, so
why wouldn't you give
this guy hate?
Why wouldn't you get the 13 counters if he died? Like if you killed him with Elbrus?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? So
yeah.
I mean, I guess you get +1/+0, man.
He's not flipped over yet.
I mean, okay, like, but if you killed someone, like, that's still a win.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying.
Hold on. Let me interject here. So you're telling me that you want this equipment to not only kill a fucking player, flip over, turn into a 26-26 flying intimidate guy.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, how badly do you want to beat your opponents down?
Yeah.
A lot.
Like, that might be the definition of greed. I mean, come on, Adam.
You know what?
Your complaint.
I think my beef is just with that second ability on Withengar. Like, I want it to have a, just when you flip it ability. Like, when you flip it, destroy target creature or something like that.
But I mean,
I think, to me, the idea behind this card is that you kill one person with it, then he flips over, and then you use him to kill the second guy, then he gets 13 counters on it, and you use that 26-26 to kill the third
I mean, he's
guy.
never gonna live because there's no haste about him or anything like that.
Like, I think it's supposed to be a progression. As we move through the game, look how powerful this thing gets.
Yeah, I don't know. Like something, like I said, something about the timing and the pacing of how you end up, it ends up playing out is wonky to me.
Adam, your major complaint about this is that your 13-13 is not a 26-26.
No, I'm just saying that the second ability doesn't do anything.
And sure it does. I mean, the second ability, it triggers even if somebody dies by some other means. So, like, if you flip it and then the next turn, like, another opponent takes out one of your other opponents, you still get the 13 +1/+1 counters.
Alright, I'm saying, show me a time when that happens.
I mean, no, of course it probably doesn't happen.
I guarantee you, like, 900 out of 901 times, that does not go down.
I mean, Adam, can I tell you the amount of times I played this card and it's flipped is probably like 1 out of 10. Like, it doesn't happen all that much. Good. Yeah, like, like, it's still really cool. Like, I play in a goofy, like, Sig River Cutthroat deck, which is like a rogue-themed, like, unblockable deck. So, like, my whole goal...
I'm not saying you shouldn't play it. I think it's playable.
It doesn't do a whole lot. And, like...
The timing just throws me the hell off, because I'm like, should it have haste? No, I just attacked with it. That makes no sense. Should it have some better ability for the second ability? Yeah, but what?
It's an equipment that turns into a 13-13 flying intimidate trample. Like, I don't even see the second sentence on there. Like, 'cause it never happens. I've never gotten the 13 +1/+1 counters. I've killed people with Withengar, but I've never gotten the second ability to even trigger. But I usually don't care, 'cause I have a flying 13-13 with trample. I'm gonna smash you in the fucking face and kill you. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, you might be asking a little bit too much from your Elverse the Binding Blade.
I mean, I'd just rather play an Ulamog at that point.
Yeah, fine. You want to play good cards. What fucking podcast are you on? Jesus. Anyway, Mike, have you ever had any experience with this? You said you played this, right?
Yeah, I built a Drana deck. Not the old Drana, the new one. Liberator.
Ooh. Yeah, spicy.
Yeah, and it's not bad. It goes in, and she'll hit. So getting it to flip initially is not bad. It's not hard.
Mm-hmm.
Getting those extra counters on it's a bit of a pain in the ass, but
mm-hmm.
whatever. Like, if you're playing the game for fun, then throw a few cards in that are just fun and stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This definitely hits that fun and stupid part. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is fine in decks that are kind of like, to a certain degree, draw go or just like hyper draw kind of cards. Like, I think it would make sense in like an Azor deck, right? Or a Kefnet deck.
Nope, won't work. Black.
What the hell card? What?
Wait, what card are we still talking about Withengar?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't. I moved on because I zoned out.
All right. Well, how about this?
Withengar doesn't do any of the things I just said. Everybody don't listen to that.
Well, how about this? How about in another draw go is good scenario? Like, I think this other card will probably work. So
the next card on the list does work.
Yes,
right.
It is actually like legit really good. I'm glad it got a reprint. I'm surprised. This used to be a lot more popular, I think. I remember when I first started playing EDH, I saw this a lot more.
Yeah,
I don't see it hardly ever.
Did it need the reprint? I don't know what the price was it expensive before?
No, I can't imagine it was that expensive. It might have been like $1, and now it's like 50 cents. The reprint's like 40 cents. I think I remember it being somewhere around $1 once, But
Okay, yeah, I mean that sounds right. Like I couldn't imagine this ever getting much higher than that.
Yeah, but anyway. So Mike, what's your next card?
Next card is Imperial Plate. It's 2 casting cost, and it gives equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand, and it equips for 2. It is a reprint of Imperial Armor from Weatherlight, which was an enchantment that did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And way back in the day, we used to play with Imperial Armor, and so when they played when they made Imperial Plate, I was like, oh, this is really cool. This card in your deck is going to give, well, at least if you're playing any of my decks, on average, +4/+4.
Yep.
Right? I do play some decks that try to get more cards in the hand, and that one's going to get you a bit more, but that's a pretty efficient boost for 2 to equip. And it's only 2 to bring out, too. So you're bringing this thing out early when you've got a shitload of cards in your hand already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So
I see this one played.
Yeah. Turn 1, you drop a 1 casting cost creature. Turn 2, you play this. And then turn 3, you equip it, and you're swinging for 7 or 8.
Yep.
Right? So that, to me, is why it's a good card. The picture is awesome.
Yeah.
Paulo Parente is just amazing. Like, I don't know. This card gets thumbs up all around.
You know what the art always reminds me of? Did anyone else ever watch the Aeon Flux show on MTV? Like, that's what I get, a serious Aeon Flux vibe from the art on here. But like
the hair definitely feels like Aeon Flux.
Yeah.
Totally.
And
I have all of the old cartoons on DVD.
Nice.
Oh, that's pretty dope. Yeah.
Yeah. All the old MTV ones, you can buy them. If you take a look, I think I got it off eBay, but yeah, you can totally find it.
Nice.
Yeah, they just got released on Amazon not too long ago. So like Amazon, I don't know if it's Amazon Prime, but you can buy them digitally, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's always funny to me that like the Imperial Armor, the enchantment, was in white. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know. That one always bothers the shit
Instead
out
of blue.
me. Yeah, you know.
So there is a new enchantment. It's blue, white, and 3, and I think it's from like the Gatecrash block or Return to Ravnica block. And you get +1/+1 for each card in your hand.
Yeah.
And you also draw an extra card every turn.
Yep.
So it's kind of like taking that blue bit and jamming it into the Imperial Armor and making it a little bit better. Now the casting cost being 5 is a bit high.
Righteous Authority or something like that.
That's it. Yeah.
Really? Huh. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, the 5 casting, I agree, because people, because the creature is still easy to get rid of. They're like, oh, well, I can just negate your 5 mana play by killing that creature. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, that card is always very interesting. I want to put it in Azorius, but I never have. But this, I've totally seen people play Imperial Plate because, I mean, it's honestly just decent value.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who doesn't want, especially if in any kind of Voltron strategy, it's just like an extra little bit, on top. And I definitely play in Voltron. But speaking of Voltron, actually, Mike's next card, because I'm guessing we're going to skip over the Haunted Cloak one, is one of my favorites for Voltron. In fact, I mean, it's very specifically built for it, right? So, Mike, what's your...
The reason I use the next card, which is Hero's Blade, I use it to protect Shiri. So I have my Shiri deck, and Shiri is notorious for whenever she hits the table, my friends all know, get rid of her. It just gives her a bit of a bigger back end.
Right.
Okay. Which helps a bit. So anyways, it says, Hero's Blade, 2 casting cost, equipped creature gets +3/+2. Whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach Hero's Blade to it, and it equips for 4. So I'm never going to pay that 4.
Yeah, no.
I'm not going to stick Hero's Blade on some chump who's not a hero. It's in the fucking name. It's only for heroes.
Right, back off, pal. All right.
Yeah, I run it in that. Also, I built a friend a super cheap deck. He owns the local game store, and he doesn't want to put any expensive cards in the deck that somebody's going to want to buy. So I built him a deck of just shit, and I put this into Zergo, which one's the mono red one? Bellringer?
Oh, yeah, the dash guy?
Oh, yeah, Bellstriker, yeah.
Okay, so we put Hero's Blade in, and we put Warstorm Surge. So basically, he pays 2 to dash in Zergo, or 3, I can't remember, and he's doming a guy for 5, and then he runs over with a hasted Zergo, who's now a 5/4, and he hits him again for another 5.
Yeah, that's pretty
This
good.
card's great.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great in certain decks. I mean, like the Zergo play that you were talking about, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just slap it in any deck, but yeah, in certain scenarios like that, I mean, I guess you could make an argument for putting it in Kolagon for the same thing, right? Because you just dash it in.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's a really cool interaction.
The one of you brought up a Mistform Ultimate or Ultimus deck.
Yep, that's what I run this in. Yeah.
And I have a Mistform Ultimus deck too, and I looked for all the cards that said whenever a blank enters the battlefield, attach this to it. And
okay.
So I've got this. I've got oh god, what is it? It's the one from Lorwyn that whenever a rogue enters the battlefield.
Oh yeah. All the Obsidian Battle Axe is the one that's for warriors, but I know what you're talking about. I think it's like Rogue's Knife or something. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a whole cycle of them. There's soldiers, rogues, warriors, and then some other ones. But yeah, I put those in because I don't want to pay the equipped costs, and that's exactly why I run Hero's Blade. I'll stick it on my legendary guys solely, and I'm not going to put it onto a regular Joe. So for me, it's basically pay 2, make your guy huge.
Yep.
Your guy dies, don't even worry about it again. Now just cast your guy and he comes back huge already.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I put that in. I still run Obsidian Battle Axe in that deck because I like it and the boost is pretty good. And plus you get haste from it.
Yep.
But yeah, I actually ended up taking out, I think the Rogue's Knife, I think, for Hero's Blade just because the boost is a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, +3/+2, that's pretty good. So, especially in a Voltron.
Oh yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah. Adam, we finally got down to one of your picks.
Hey,
it happens. It was probably bound to happen eventually. So.
Yeah. So Illusionist Bracers, which I don't know. I mean, I guess every play group is different. I see this card a lot.
Interesting.
But I also play this card a lot.
Huh. Okay. Do you think it has to do with just Rings of Brightheart being stupid expensive now?
Then you may choose new targets for the copy, and it equips for 3.
Oh, Mike, I'm sorry, Mike. Adam, you cut out a little bit. Do you mind if you read that one again? Sorry, I think the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. Yeah. So Illusionist Bracers, 2 casting cost, 3 to equip. Whenever an ability of an equipped creature is activated, if it isn't a mana ability, copy that ability, and then you choose new targets for the copy, or you can choose new targets for the copy.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Fate Stitcher, a Pheto Alchemist, anything that says untap a permanent gets you infinite mana, and then you win.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
It's a pretty simple piece.
Sure, fine, I guess. Yeah. I mean, there's really no time when you wouldn't want to do this, right? Like, when would you not want to double your activation for something?
Right, I mean, it's just like having, your Strionic Resonator or your Rings of Brighthearth or it's another one of that ilk.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they have their places and they're pretty much all in combo and, the rest of the time, it's a do nothing equipment, but in the combos, they pretty much break it.
I mean, I use this in like a Giza Ghoul Caller deck because I just want more tokens. So
I mean, fair enough. Like that is a thing you can do.
Yep. It's not the most efficient thing you can do. Like yours sounds way better at actually winning the game.
Yeah.
But I get
That's
more.
That's what I try to do with the combos. Yeah.
I just try to get more tokens, man. That's who wins the game.
Look,
whoever ends with the most tokens.
You should pursue what it is that feels good in your life.
Yeah. I'm just all about the hedonism over here. So. Mike, do you have any particular experience with Illusionist Bracers?
Yeah, I've run it. Trying to figure out. I run it in the Scorpion God.
That sounds
nice.
Good.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I figure paying 3 and putting 2 -1/-1 counters is pretty good.
Yeah.
I have run it in other things. It was in my Krenko deck for quite a while.
Yeah, that seems real good.
Yeah.
Actually, it's been taken out because it is real good. If I have 5 mana, I don't want to be using it on that. I want to be using it to win the game. Like I said, I won it the other day.
Yeah.
3 lands on the table. I don't want to be wasting, on that. I'm trying to build Ziria, the Jund Insect girl with the
It draws a card. Yeah.
And I was looking at this morning, and I was like, yeah, I think it's going to go in there because I don't mind paying 3 to draw 2 cards. So to me, it has its place, but I don't think it's a ubiquitous place in that it goes into every single deck that has a tap ability.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it's definitely not an auto.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Now,
Definitely
if you take this and put it onto Zenith Poltergeist, different story.
I mean, that's just a little overpowered, don't you think? I mean, it's not.
Well, sometimes we play competitive. You know.
I mean, I play it primarily in Seton because I can untap lots of lands with any dude, or I play it in Marieki, so I steal 2 creatures every time.
Yep.
And then I have combo pieces in each of those that go along with this.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, I can see where it works. I can see how it works. I just don't. It's one of the cards that when I'm looking at a deck to think about putting a new card in, it's definitely on the chopping block every single time.
Interesting. Yeah. I am probably more biased toward it. Not necessarily logically so, but I am.
Yep.
All right. So, Mark, is that you that's up next with something I can't pronounce?
It is. That's a Kusari Gama.
There you go.
Speaking of some weird stuff from Kamigawa. So, Kusari Gama is a 3 colorless artifact equipment. Equipped creature has an activated ability, pay 2, and this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So it's like colorless fire breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever a equipped creature deals damage to a blocking creature, Kusari Gama deals that much damage to each other creature defending player controls, and it equips for 3. So, yeah, I really dig this. So
I like you.
Yeah, it's just neat to plow down a whole field of dudes. I really wish it was target creature deals that much damage, because then you could do some death touch shenanigans, which you cannot do with Kusari Gama.
Oh yeah, because it's dealing the damage.
Yeah, so like that does make it just strictly worse. But the colorless,
you can do that.
Yeah.
Because it puts a trigger on the stack.
All
so
right.
You're going to attack. You're going to hit the guy for 1, right?
Okay.
Then use Sidri to turn Kusari Gama into a creature and give it death touch, because that whenever equipped creature deals damage, that's already on the stack.
Yes, that part is okay. I
Okay.
think I was like, you can't do it by itself, but yes.
No, with Sidri Aid if I can. Hey,
Yeah.
that's a good reason for me to unpack another copy of this and put it in Sidri though. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, normally you cannot without a little extra help. But even so, like even just smashing it down, like the Death Touch ability or Lifelink or whatever, it won't transfer over, but that creature's power will transfer over. So if you're already just giving it a +1/+0, and even sometimes like I'll just put this on a regular 4/4 or 5/5, like even evenly spreading that out, and you're not even spreading it out, you're just evenly doing 4 or 5 damage to the entire field or however much the power is.
Right.
You just wiped out somebody's board. So like this is great anti-token strategies.
What's the dragon that does that? Balefire Dragon?
Balefire Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
For the longest time in our meta, people would play Balefire Dragon, and it was just like, oh shit, we're all fucked now. And for some reason, Balefire has lost favor in the meta, which is, is good. So I like keeping my dudes around, but that gives your whatever creature you've got this thing equipped to, Balefire Dragon.
I think part of the reason is it's a $17 card now.
What?
Balefire Dragon, $17?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you meant it's Kusari Gama.
Oh, fuck
No,
this
God,
is
I have
$1.30.
no idea how much that costs. It's probably like 2 cents.
$1.33.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Balefire Dragon is $17.
Wow.
That is fucking
What's
nuts.
driving that cost up?
I think it's just never been reprinted, and it is a pretty strong commander card.
Wow.
Wow, yeah, you're right. Holy shit, that came. I mean, I don't usually think of anything out of Innistrad as $17. That's fucking bananas, man.
Yeah.
Wow. I should say there's a slight difference to this, like in that Kusari Gama has to deal the damage to a blocking creature, and Balefire has to deal it to a player. So that's slightly different. But then again, I think Balefire is easier to trigger because it flies over the top and it'll smack the player in the face. And there's other ways to just, there's other ways to just deal combat damage directly to a player anyway. Like this one, you have to deal it to a creature. So, they have to block you. At worst, sometimes like I play this and then the creature just becomes unblockable because like I'll put it on, I'll pump it, and they're like, no, I don't want to lose my entire board, so fine, I'll just let you get through. So like if the worst thing that happens is you pay 3 to equip this, you pay 3 for it, pay 3 to equip, and then you get an unblockable creature, or if not unblockable, a creature that strongly dissuades you from blocking, I think that's okay. Like I would still pay that, Yeah.
I really like this. Like, I really, really like it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kusarigama. So, what do we got up next? Mike, next one's your pick.
So Nemesis Mask, we talked about it in the banding episode, so we'll just quickly go over it. Nemesis Mask is an artifact. Let me see if I can spell this correctly. Costs 3, equips for 3. All creatures able to block equipped creature do so.
Yep.
The reason I like this is because you throw it on a little 1/1 guy and then run the rest of your team over. There's really not a whole lot to say about this thing other than it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think people undervalue these effects in general.
Yeah. Like the luring elf effects.
Block this, but I mean, really, it basically says this dies. It basically says sack a creature, the rest of your team is unblockable.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I once tried to build a deck around this in Death Touch effects, which was fucking the worst thing I've ever done in my life. Well, the worst thing in Magic anyway. But like that like luring elf or that lure effects, like I really like those. I do think, just like Adam said, they're very much undervalued. Because it's just like you said, it's just like, you threw one guy under the bus and everyone else gets through. So, yeah.
Right.
You're like forcing people to chump block.
For you.
Yeah, it's like offensively chump blocking, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Not that. Well, it's funny that you say that, because as I was trying to explain what it was, I was about to say, well, you stick this on a chump blocker, and then I was like, no, because you're attacking.
Right.
Yeah, right? But I mean, that is kind of what you're doing, though, right? Yeah.
Chump attacking.
Yeah. You're either chump attacking or offensively chump blocking. Whichever. Take your pick, folks.
Yes.
Yeah. But it is really cool, and I can't believe it's a fucking uncommon from Darksteel. It's 29 cents. I don't know why I keep thinking this is worth more. Because I want to play this more, so I think that's probably why. Like, I have the bad habit of, like, valuing cards in my head more than they're actually worth. Right. I was like, why isn't Kusarigama like $12? And Baleflyer's like 17. Oh, wait, because one is fucking clearly better than the other, but not to me.
So that Tower of the Magistrates we talked about, there was one at a local game store, and I'd been eyeing it up for forever, and I'd been saving up store credit at the store until I think I had something like $50. And I'm like, okay, I'm willing to buy this card now because I know it's going to be expensive. So I go and I asked the guy to pull it out of the glass, and he puts it down. I'm like, okay, what do I owe you? And he's like, $3. And I was like, what?
like, oops. Yeah, I hear you.
Do you have any more?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, not that anyone's going to make the run on the bank of, Mercadian Mask lands that aren't Rishadenport, but, yeah, that one's pretty good, so. Let's see, Adam. Oh no, Mike, you've got the next one too, man. This is actually a card that I do run, and I am surprised that more people do not run it. But
so, I heard about this. I've known about this card since it came out, but again, I don't play it. And then I was down at a place. There's a card store in London, Ontario called Worlds Away, and we were there, and we were talking to the store owner, who's a big Magic player, and he starts talking about, my favorite combo is Scythe of the Wretched and Crypt Rats. And I'm like, what does that do? So, Scythe of the Wretched is 2 to cast. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. And whenever a creature dealt damage by equipped creature this turn is put into a graveyard, return that card to play under your control. Attach Scythe of the Wretched to that creature, and it equips for 4. So, this guy's combo was Crypt Rats and Scythe of the Wretched.
Yeah.
Crypt Rats is basically
pretty good.
Pay a black for Pestilence. And so I'm sitting there and I'm kind of mulling it over how this thing works. And he goes, you pay 3 black and you kill everything on the table that you can. And so they'll all come back to play under your side, and they'll all attach to Scythe of the Wretched. But just make sure the Crypt Rats, because it died to it itself, is the last one that gets equipped to Scythe of the Wretched. And then pay some more mana and take some more guys. And take as many guys as you have black mana for.
Yeah.
I just was stunned at how awesome this was.
I like that a lot. I like that interaction a lot. In general, I've never thought of using this card.
Shame on you.
But that interaction, like, I almost want to go out and buy one because I run Crypt Rats in a rat deck, and I'm like, and I run plenty of tutors. So if I could just grab this and gain control of everything, that's pretty okay.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, I do have I think a couple copies of Side of the Wretched. I run it in an Olivia Voldaren deck because I thought it was flavorful that, like, you know, you're killing things and they're coming back to your side. So I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool. Like, I thought it was pretty badass for that. It doesn't trigger all that often, only because, like, Olivia doesn't stay on all that often. You need quite a bit of mana in order to pull that off. But I love the Crypt Rats thing. Like, I play Crypt Rats in a deck that plays around with, like, you know, pestilence effects, but I'm 100% slotting my extra Scythe of the Wretched in that deck right now. So.
There you go. Yeah. Like, when the guy told it to me, I was like, this is awesome. This, my buddy Nick and I, we go around to the different stores in our province to play against different people, because when we stay too much at our main store, we get sort of tunnel vision for what everybody's playing at that store. And so by us leaving and going somewhere else, we find out about all these little weird things, and then we bring them back and we use them against our friends.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. I love that. I'm 100% stealing that. So, Adam, I will fully admit this is not a new occurrence, but this is one of these cards, your next pick, that I don't understand why it's cool, but I think it's cool because I don't think I'm smart enough to actually use it. But please tell me why Spy Kit is really neat.
So I'm actually going to link to an article in EDH Rec that we can put in the thing there that lists all the different cards that have great interactions with Spy Kit. So I'll go over a few highlights. Biovisionary basically wins you the game as long as you have 4 creatures.
Okay, continue. That sounds okay.
Evil Twin kills anything.
Yeah, alright, now you're talking my language. Yeah.
Bifurcate tutors for any creature card in your deck. Puts it into play.
Fucking bifurcate. Jesus Christ.
You know, those are some of the really fun interactions. There's also, Cornered Market. Players can't play spells or non-basic lands with the name of a card in play, so nobody can cast creatures anymore.
Okay, there we go. I like that. Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it just does a lot of weird things. So, I really like it. I think that it is underutilized in some decks because people try to, like, jump through all kinds of hoops for things when, I mean, it does just give you, you know, really easy way to do a lot of things. Also, I mean, look, it turns everything into a festering newt, so you can run Bubbling Cauldron.
Well,
yeah.
There we go, man.
You're welcome. Maelstrom Pulse destroys every creature.
Okay, yeah, 100% on there. I will officially now pick up a copy of Cornered Market.
Yeah,
because I can't wait to play that. That's
some pretty hot tech. I like that one a lot.
that was really cool.
So the other day I was cleaning up my desk and I had an entire box of conspiracy just shit, right? And I'm going through it and I'm pulling out cards I think might be useful. So I grabbed all of the coiling oracles and stuff like that. And as I'm flipping through, I saw this and I looked at it and I thought, there is a way to break this and I'm not going to spend the time to do it. And so I left it in the box, but I guess I'm going to get the box out this afternoon. Because going through this list, there's like a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff that you can do with it.
That is really cool. Yeah, and so that's the best part. Like, that's why I like those weird one-off like conspiracy sets, because I don't think you could ever put this in another set, right? Like, this is just a one-off. Like, someone had been wanting to make this card forever, and they're just like, no, Bob, you can't put this in fucking standard. No, Bob, you can't do this in standard. You can't put this in from the vault. Whatever. Like, here you go. Here's your conspiracy. Do whatever the hell you want. You know, and that's why we get the cool little interactions like that. So that's really dope. Let me see. What do we got next on the list? Oh crap, I'm up next. So, I never understood why people don't play this, especially in EDH. But Trailblazers boots. I guess a little inexpensive. 2 colorless and 2 to equip. Equip creature has non-basic land walk. Like, I like things that are unblockable.
Yeah, I lost to this last week.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hot 50 cents, so watch out. I mean, we're really breaking the budget on this one. But
here's a perfect example. The guy played it. I looked at it and I was like, whatever. I don't care. Because it's not a sword. I used my own shit against myself. I I looked in and okay, fine. And then sure enough, he's like, I attack you. And I was like, perfect. And then he's like, and I have whatever walk. And I was like, fucking awesome.
Yep. I mean, like, when was the last time? I don't know. Like, I feel like any damage I get through with a land walk ability is like extra damage. I should get like a +1 on that. You know, and especially if it's just like goofy, like non-basic land walk. Like, like, what's that card out of Kamigawa? It's like legendary land walk. Like, what the fuck? Somebody smacked me in the face with that one time. I think that's where I learned that like land walk. Oh yeah, is still a really good ability. So,
I like land walk. I think it's a pretty awesome ability. I remember playing back in like 4th edition days when we had Giant Slug, which could give land walk whatever type.
Yeah.
5, but I thought that was pretty neat. I'd like to build an EDH deck using that, except for it costs 5, and I'm not going to pay 5 to hit somebody. But I think they should do some more land walk type stuff.
Yeah,
they kind of took land walk away altogether, and that it's so easy. It's so easy for people to understand. I don't understand why they took it away. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
they're going to give us some garbage like prowess and take away land walk. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I can understand why they didn't take it away. Does it make a new fiddly bit or a +1/+1 counter? No. Well, then it doesn't go in anymore. Like, there's just no design space for that. So.
Well, we are going back to Dominaria.
Oh, that's true. So yeah, maybe we'll get some more land walk. I mean,
yeah,
I can definitely dig with that. I don't know. I think it was. Oh god, this is several months ago now. But I did get beat by a Solkanar the Swamp King deck, largely because of his land walk ability, because I was playing, a deck with black in it not too long ago.
Right.
That was pretty embarrassing. So, yeah.
I love using Shieldred's Swamp Walk.
Yeah, everyone forgets she even has it, man. That's a great part of Shieldred. Yeah, that's a really good part.
Everybody always forgets the top part of whatever of the fucking card. Like, did you guys know that Sun Titan has Vigilance?
Yeah, because I'm stupid and I tap Sun Titan constantly.
I tap Sun Titan all the time. My buddy Dan constantly is reaching over a table and he's like, fucking Vigilance. And I'm like, don't touch my shit.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Shieldred's got the Swamp Walk, and I've actually lost because someone's cloned my own Shieldred. And I'm like, oh, it sucks that you get dudes back, but whatever. And then they're like, I hit you with it. And I'm like, how? I block it. And they're like, you swamps. And I still can't figure it out until I read the art.
Yeah. How did this happen? Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. Let's see, next one, Adam. Here's another one. I think this might be one of the most expensive cards on this list now. So, what? Oddly enough, this is a $5 card, sir.
Is it really?
It is. Yeah. So,
I guess I don't know. I don't know what.
Snatch up all those uncommon from Shadow Wars.
Yeah, so Umbral Mantle is a 3 casting cost equipment. Equipped creature has pay 3 and untap symbol. This creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, and it equips for 0. Yeah, I mean, I use this mainly for the untap ability. Like, I almost don't care that it gives +2/+2. But there are some ways to exploit that with like Devoted Druid and things like that, where you can kind of just keep making your Devoted Druid, super big. But the real good part is that you can untap Marieki all you want and then steal all the things.
That's okay.
I like that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I ran this in Selvala, the Explorer Returned.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Sat down one day, I did a little bit of math, and figured out that in a 4-player game, odds of you getting 3 mana off of a Selvala a Selvala activation are pretty good.
Yep.
So I decided to build a white-green mill deck.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, and it works. It works real well. So I used either this or I used sort of the pair runes, because it does the same. It untaps for 3.
Right.
And you can burn through people's decks super easily. Now, when the game drops to a 3-player or a 2-player game, this does not do very well.
Right.
You don't get those like infinite untaps, but it's still fun. And people talk about it all the time. They're like, oh, did you know there's a green-white mill deck that exists? And it's pretty funny.
Like it's a fucking Sasquatch?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cards that work really interestingly with it. Viridian Joiner is one, and yeah, I mean, there's
King
lots of
Makar.
combos. I mean, I think that you end up playing it probably in a green deck 90% of the time, but
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah,
not always. Like,
cool.
I don't know. Like, I've played this with, I mean, this isn't a good combo, but I played this with, like, Arbiter of the Ideal, that stupid fucking Sphinx that, you pop something off the top and put it on the battlefield.
Right.
Like, that's not, you probably shouldn't do that. There are better uses for Umbral Mantle. But yeah, like, even if it's just to get an extra activated ability on something, like, you can put it on anything. Like, I used to run this in, like a Grimgreen deck, So,
Right.
yeah, like I don't know, it's cool. Like I've used it for a billion different things. I don't know. Put it on like Mana Dorks. And, it's probably not a great use for Mana Dorks because you have to pay for it. So fucking don't do that. But yeah, I don't know. Like Umbral Mantle is a neat thing. I wish they would bring back that untapped. Like this is one of the reasons that Shadowmoor is one of my favorite blocks, right? Because they weren't afraid to just do goofy shit. Like I think that untap symbol. There's only like I don't know a dozen or so cards in Magic that have that. And they're all in Shadowmoor, and most of them are shitty. But this one's a neat little, it's neatly versatile, and it equips for 0 too. That's not nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, so bringing us on home, Mike, with your last one. Man, I've always wanted to play this, and I never have. So.
I use it in a Masumaro. He's first to do something. But anyways, his ability is he gets his power and toughness is equal to twice the amount of cards in your hand.
Yeah.
And he's mono green. So when I built the deck, the goal was to build a deck that could draw as many cards in mono green as I possibly could, because at the time I didn't think that was a possible thing. It turns out it's a very possible thing.
Well, because now green can do everything, so yeah.
Yeah, basically. The thing is, he doesn't have trample. So I needed cards to put in to give him trample. And this was one of them. I mean, it equips for cheap. And then it also gives, I guess we should talk about what it does. It costs 2. Equipped creature has trample and can't be blocked by more than one creature, and it equips for 1. So, yeah, he's getting through. When tomorrow's a 30-30 because you got 15 cards in your hand, you're going to block with a guy, but he's still going to hit you. That's why I like it.
Yeah, that second half of that first sentence, man, it can't be blocked by more than one creature, I think is honestly the most powerful part of this card.
Oh, yeah.
It's great that it equips for 1. It's great that it has trample, and it's still rare that you find an equipment that gives trample, so this is definitely, really useful. But man, that can't be blocked by more than one creature. Love it. That's great. Yeah.
There's one artifact that it's not an equipment. I run it in that Masumaro deck as well. But this thing should basically be an equipment, and it's called Power Matrix. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it.
I've heard of it. I don't remember what it does.
If it's the card I'm thinking of, I think.
So it's an old Mercadian Mask card. It costs 4, and it says tap target creature.
Oh yeah.
+1/+1 and gains flying and first strike and trample until the end of turn. So I mean, it's like a pseudo equipment.
Yeah, before equipment was a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I love that card, and I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. It's similar to like I'm a fan of from way back in the day, Ashnod's Transmogrant.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah. Holy shit, that's an oldie but goodie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Power Matrix. I do run Power Matrix in the deck. That's funny. I forgot I ran Power Matrix in the deck until you brought it up, though, Mike. So, but yeah, that one's really cool. I mean, that one, you just have to tap. It's no equip cost. So,
right.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Yeah.
It's like instant speed equipment.
And there was a lot of those, like way back. I think Wizards was trying to find a way to represent someone leaving swords on the battlefield or leaving their armor on the battlefield after they died. And that's where equipment came from. But I mean, the idea for colorless equipment's been around for forever. Sword of the Chosen does it. It gives target legendary creature +2/+2, as long as the sword's tapped. There's a whole bunch of them, just weird old artifacts from way back. But I think they just decided, well, let's leave that. Like thematically, it makes more sense for the creature who died to drop his equipment on the ground, and then the next creature that's running down the battlefield picks it up and jumps into battle with it.
Yeah. If I can give 2 quick shout outs to that can't be blocked by more than one creature ability. So there's a probably a shitty old enchantment that I'm a fan of called Familiar Ground, which is out of like Weatherlight, I think, originally. It's very simple. It's 2 colors and a green. Each creature you control can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. And then there's another one. I always want to build a deck around this dude, but I don't want to pay the redonkulous cost for him because he's from fucking P3K. So Yuan Shao the Indecisive has horsemanship, and it has the same thing. Each of your creatures can't be blocked by more than 1 creature as long as Yuan Shao is on the battlefield. So, but that dude's $42. So
Nice.
Not gonna be buying that guy anytime soon. So yeah.
Yeah, when they're costing that much, that's a commitment.
Yeah, and that's a big commitment for a dumb deck. Like, I would just build like a really stupid deck for that, and I'm just like, no, never mind. I'll just buy Familiar Ground because it's 23 cents. So, yeah, let's go with that one. Now, we're kind of through all our picks. Does anybody have any kind of last sentiments for this segment before we kind of tie a bow on it?
No,
I mean, I think my sentiment is always going to be just play with different cards from time to time. Like, just tinker with them. See what feels good.
I mean, that's the beauty of equipment, right? I mean, they can literally go in every deck. The only thing they can't in this is, some of the weirdo shit like cranial plating, because it has like a colored symbol on it. So, the versatility of equipment is one of its big virtues. And so definitely, like, I think, especially if you have some things that you just need to shore up, some weaknesses, like, hey, you'd like to give some more trample to something, or maybe, give a little haste here or there, or just an incidental buff, etc.
Right.
Give it a shot. Like, I use Captain's Claws just to pop out some extra tokens in some decks. It's stupid.
Yeah, I saw that one in the list too, and I thought, that's actually really cool. Like, just, it makes a dude for something that you're already doing.
Yeah, and like that's, I think, the key to a really great piece of equipment, a really great card. Like, it already just enables a thing you're already doing, right? So, well, with that, ladies and gents, I think we're going to wrap up this segment and then wrap up the show. So stick with us after the break, and then we'll come right back to the outro. Last interstitial.
I'm always waiting for the music, like when we record this.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, right? I'm like, why the fuck isn't the music coming on?
Mike, don't feel bad. I felt the exact same way when I first started doing this podcast when I was on with Rachel. I'm like, because I'm fucking stupid. I'm just like, do they play it when they record it? What's going on? Do I get to talk now? I don't understand. So like, I would never say anything until like someone else spoke. I'm just like, is this am I talking over the music now? I don't get it. So yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of another show about underused equipment, but hopefully we have not underused your time. Some pretty cool picks. I know me, for one, I'm using that Crypt Rats Cycle the Retro thing like in the next
Yeah,
game.
that was some pretty sweet stuff. Right
Yeah,
there.
that's some hot fucking tech. So,
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. That was awesome. No doubt someone at a table near me soon is going to be complaining about that. So, appreciate that. And before we go, we always like to make sure that we give the guests first billing here. So, Mike, if anyone out there wants to tell you about their crazy equipment shenanigans, how can they get a hold of you?
I'm on Reddit under user MTG Metaman.
Nice. And Adam, if people want to talk to you about, I don't know, how wrong you are about, let's say, art in general, or maybe, let's see, what did you hate on today that I like? There's got to be at least one card, right?
Illusionist Bracers?
No, Murderous Spoils?
The Elbrus Binding Blade argument.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, we definitely need some arbitration here for that Elbrus Binding Blade argument. So, if they want to send snarky emails to you or otherwise contact you through the nets, how can they do that?
You can definitely hit me up on Twitter at Squire9999 or at the Trinosphere.
Nice. And you guys have a new episode coming out this week, right? Not a gameplay like regular episode?
No, we had, oh god, the time warp of podcasting and recording.
Yeah, I know, because we're like a week out, so.
We either have a gameplay or a podcast coming out tomorrow. I don't know.
Excellent. Excellent. Alright, well, yeah, check us out, folks. So hopefully you're hearing this, and then, I don't know, check back on Tuesdays. They always drop on Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, Tuesdays is the schedule.
There we go. There we go. Tuesdays, Trinisphere, it's right there. It's all alliterative. You're good, people. What else do you want? So, and if you want to blast out to everybody here on CommanderCast, hit us up at commandercast@gmail.com or our Twitter @CommanderCast. Be sure to check out our CommanderCast Facebook page as well. And a big thanks here to everyone at the CommanderCast Network. We will see you guys next week with more community, strategy, and technology. Until then, let's get it!